From JetBlue Park in Fort Myers, Florida, NESN presents Grapefruit League Baseball. Today, the Boston Red Sox play host to the Minnesota Twins. Hello and welcome, everyone. Tom Kerr and Steve Lyons with you on a gorgeous day in Southwest Florida. The first of 15 spring training games we will bring your way as the Red Sox get ready for 2017. Winners of the American League East last year, but a disappointing finish, swept in the playoffs. Most people think they are the team to beat in the American League.
Yeah, there's a gigantic target on this team's back as the best team in the East, maybe the best team in the American League. I know that the Cleveland Indians may want to give you some argument about that, but this team continues to try to get better. Every offseason, they're a pretty good ball club. They go out and get better. They add Sale to their starting rotation, an excellent acquisition. They also go into their bullpen and add some help in the eighth inning, get Thornburg, and also add some help in that offense over at first base with Mitch Moreland. He's a guy who's coming off of a little bit of an off year. I love guys coming off of an off year and coming to a new team. They've got something to prove.
Moreland at first, Hanley, Ramirez, the DH. Quickly, there's no way to replace David Ortiz here.
Not a chance. And these guys really don't think they have to. They think they have a strong enough lineup, 1-9, that if everyone just does their job, they make up the difference. And with the better pitching staff, maybe they don't have to score as many runs as they did last year.
You'll see a good lineup today for the Red Sox. It'll be Dustin Pedroia leading off and leading the way now in the clubhouse. Xander Bogaerts over at shortstop. He'll be batting second, leaving next week for the World Baseball Classic. And Mookie Betts batting third, playing right. We're ready for baseball here in Florida. We're back after this. Spring training game on NESN is brought to you by Ace Ticket. It's more than a ticket. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. And by Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Normally, this is the time of year we would brag about how warm and beautiful it is here in Southwest Florida, but I think it's only about 6 or 7 degrees warmer than it is back in Boston today. That said, it is a postcard day here in Fort Myers as the Red Sox play their second Grapefruit League game of the spring training schedule. Yesterday, beaten 3-2 by the New York Mets here at JetBlue Park. Today, starting lineup of the Minnesota Twins coming into town. You've got Stubbs, Santana, Grossman, Park, Paulson, Haig, Escobar, Murphy, and Field. We'll get into that as they roll on. And on the mound for the Boston Red Sox, entering his second season in the Red Sox organization, Rowen's Elias is on the mound, and you can see the numbers last year with Pawtucket. And those are the intriguing numbers, Steve, because he was dominant at the AAA level. It has not yet translated to Major League success, but they believe he has the stuff to succeed at the Major League level. I think he needs an opportunity to settle in at the Major League level, get an opportunity that's consistent for him, whether it be out of the pen or as a starter. Defensively, checking out
The Red Sox in the field, around the infield. Pablo Sandoval making a start at third base. Sander Bogarts at short, of course. Dustin Pedroia at second. Mitch Moreland, the newcomer, at first. In the outfield, looking at young Selski. Steve Selski now with this Red Sox organization. Mookie Betts in right field. And Vasquez doing the catching today for Elias.
And there you see Pablo Sandoval back in there, the slimmed-down version of the Panda, and we are underway. Thanks for joining us here in our first broadcast of the 2017 preseason. Drew Stubbs stepping in to lead off for the Minnesota Twins. 7th organization now for Stubbs. Last year split the season between the Atlanta Braves, the Texas Rangers, and the Baltimore Orioles. A well-traveled major league career for the 32-year-old Drew Stubbs.
Even spent some time in Round Rock for Texas. The year before that, he was in Colorado and Cleveland.
Here's the pitch from Elias, who is...
It used to be when you hear the name Drew Stubbs, you just say, oh yeah, center fielder, Cincinnati.
Yeah, not anymore. That's been a while. In fact, we were talking about that, right? Didn't he play for Cincinnati last year? No, that was 4 years ago that he played for Cincinnati. Elias misses inside there. And again, you saw the numbers for Elias last year. The success he had, 3 games with a big club, 3 different stints each time, 1 appearance for the Red Sox. And well, he had that low ERA and the high strikeout ratio in Pawtucket. Hasn't happened yet at the major league level. And he gets the inside corner here, striking out Stubbs to begin the day.
Nasty little breaking ball right there out of the get-go for Stubbs. He couldn't pull the trigger on it.
So strikeout to start the day for the lefty, Elias. A lot of teams you would say, you know, he's left-handed, he's got a chance because everyone's looking for a left-handed starter, not the Red Sox. They seem to have plenty of left-handed starters.
Yes, they do.
Sale, Price, Pomeranz, Eduardo Rodriguez. Foul ball there down the third base line as Santana steps into the box.
There's a pretty good chance you start the season, depending on Pomeranz's health, and that's still in question. Start the season with 4 lefties in your rotation, and Stephen Wright.
The knuckleballer that'll mix everybody else up. Turn them sideways here as Elias just misses inside there. 1-1 the count.
And we talk about how tough it is to establish yourself as a major league player, even if you're given a great opportunity to do that. But when you're a guy who's up and down in the big leagues and back to AAA, it gets awfully difficult when you're making a spot start here, a spot start there. Maybe they pull you out of the bullpen to throw. Really, really tough to establish yourself in that situation.
1-2 the count to Danny Santana here. 2014, he was the Minnesota Twins Rookie of the Year, but he hasn't been able to duplicate that success since. Fouls this one off to stay alive. That 2014 season, he was named the 9th best prospect in the organization, finished 7th in the American League Rookie of the Year award, hit .319 in 101 games, but .215 the following season. Back to .240 last year, now finds himself in a battle for a spot in this lineup.
Just toning things down too. We saw him during batting practice wearing a pair of cleats that were white and all speckled with black. It looked like he had went and painted something. Now he's got all black shoes on, as most of the Twins do.
12 stolen bases last year for Santana, 3rd best. Swing and a miss there, and so Elias has struck out the first 2 batters he has seen.
He's showing a lot of stuff here too. That looked like a little bit of a changeup. He's throwing his breaking ball very well. He's spotting that fastball.
Changeup has always been a strong pitch for Elias. Talking to Christian Vasquez this morning here in the clubhouse, and Vasquez said he stood in against him earlier this week, live batting practice. He said the curveball is much sharper this year. That could be an important development here as the ground ball to short. Bogarts up with it, throws it across, and retires Robbie Grossman on 1 pitch. So 1-2-3 for Elias as the Red Sox coming up at the bottom of the first.
Sir, there's been a
1-2-3 first inning for Rowen's Elias, and now the Red Sox coming up to bat in the bottom half of the first inning. Take a look at the Sox lineup today. Dustin Pedroia at second base, Xander Bogaerts the shortstop, Mookie Betts, Hanley, Ramirez, Mitch Moreland, Chris Young in left, Pablo Sandoval at third base, Selski in center, and Vasquez behind the plate. They'll be going up against Phil Hughes in his 11th spring training now, his 4th with the Minnesota Twins, for 7 years with the New York Yankees. Last year had an injury-shortened season on a team that desperately needed pitching help. A 103-loss season with the Twins last year. That's a franchise record. Slated in as the number 4 pitcher, if all goes according to plan, for the Twins rotation this year. And Dustin Pedroia takes ball 1 to begin the bottom half of the first.
He's one of those weird pitches where almost everything he throws is hard. He'll cut the ball, fastball, doesn't really have a changeup at all.
Pedroia in his first game as the Red Sox, we told you, beat a heartbreaking loss to begin the spring training schedule yesterday, 3-2 to the New York Mets. Actually, were being no-hit until the 7th inning. Hanley Ramirez broke up the no-hitter. I think it was safe to say that yesterday the pitchers were ahead of the hitters. Red Sox pitching combined for 16 strikeouts yesterday.
Yeah, that'll happen a lot in spring training, especially early on, until the hitters get their footing under them, and then all of a sudden, while the pitchers are still trying to gain that arm strength, guys start teeing off on them.
Pedroia takes a called strike on the 3-0. Dustin Pedroia coming off a season in which he was healthy and in which he was very productive. What a difference a little bit of health made as he hit .318. Fly ball here to left field, back towards the wall and off the wall. So much for pitchers being ahead of Pedroia. Dustin Pedroia says, I got you timing right here.
Remember, down here at Fenway South, you got to hit it all the way out of this ballpark, up over the red line. That ball almost looked like it got hit by a fan that's inside the wall and it bounced back onto the field. That's a double no matter how we look at it. Good swing by Dustin, no problems there. One of the things about Phil Hughes is he loves to live up in the strike zone. You can't do that with Dustin Pedroia.
And a reminder that the Green Monster here at JetBlue Park, while the dimensions of the ballpark are exactly the same as Fenway, the Green Monster here actually a little taller because of those seats inside the Green Monster. So you got to give it a little extra something to get it out of the ballpark here.
Got to hit it up there on the umbrellas.
Good day for the umbrella. Sun is strong here as Xander Bogaerts steps in, takes ball 1.
Fairly gusty wind here today, blowing out to right center. Hey, there's a great seat right there.
Not many available, though. A sellout yesterday, and I'm thinking capacity here this afternoon on a gorgeous Saturday in Fort Myers. Ground ball played there by Escobar at short. He'll throw it across for the first out of the bottom of the first.
All right, defensively now for the Twins around the infield. You have Matt Haig at third base, Escobar at short. Just saw him make a play. Tommy Field over there at second base. Byung-ho Park, an interesting story over at first base. In the outfield, you have Robbie Grossman, Drew Stubbs, and Danny Santana. Pitcher and catcher Phil Hughes today doing the pitching with John Ryan Murphy behind the plate.
And Mookie Betts stepping up to the plate. Mookie Betts finished last season second in the American League MVP voting to Mike Trout. I know you're a big fan of WAR, wins above replacement, according to Baseball Reference. Led the Sox in WAR each of the last 2 seasons.
He led everybody.
In everything. Nubber here fouled on the right field line, the first base line. It'll go foul. Pedroia at second base, the leadoff double. Bogaerts at the ground ball could not advance the runner, so 1 down here with a man in scoring position for Betts.
You know, last year at this time, I had said that I thought it would be difficult for Mookie Betts to have a better season in 2016 than he did in 15, and he blew that away. But I'd also caution Red Sox fans now to think, you know, I hope that's the standard that he set for himself, but last year was an incredible year. It'd be very difficult for him to do the same thing.
Spent much of the season leading off for the Red Sox. Base hit up the middle for Betts. Pedroia will be held up here at third as The ball played quickly by Stubbs and back in the infield. So men on the corners here with one out for the Red Sox in the first.
It's a ball out over the middle of the plate. Easy pitch for Mookie to handle. He shoots that right back up the middle. And one of the reasons why Pedroia has to hesitate just a little bit is you don't know if the pitcher can pick that off. If the pitcher catches that line drive, you see the little hesitation there by Pedroia. So that makes it so that he can't score. Drew Stubbs, still a pretty accomplished center fielder. He gets to the ball quickly, and he still has a good arm.
Betts hit it too hard. Got out there too quickly. But that'll bring up Hanley Ramirez with men on the corners. Ramirez played yesterday, so playing DH again today. Almost hit a home run yesterday. Thing went foul by about 2 feet maybe on the left field side. Good opportunity here for Hanley. We told you 7th inning. He broke up the no-hitter yesterday. He takes ball 1.
Good wind blowing to right center field today. If you get it up in that little jet stream, the ball will jump out of here.
Hanley will be the primary DH because he'll be the DH whenever a righty is in there. At least the plan right now is for him to be the first baseman when a lefty's in there. Mitch Moreland will be the first baseman against righties. But you wonder, Mitch Moreland, who won the Gold Glove last year, you think the opportunity's probably there for him to get a little more time if he can get off to a good start.
Talked to Moreland about facing left-handed pitching today, and he says, look, last year I had my best numbers ever against lefties, even though overall I didn't have a great year. He said, I don't care. It's not like I'm afraid to face left-handers. It's just that lately people have been looking at him as more of a right-handed pitching hitter.
Over his career in 36 games as designated hitter, Hanley Ramirez, a .331 hitter with 10 homers and 37 RBIs. So the numbers clear that he's one of those guys who likes the DH. Not everybody does. Some people feel removed from the game not playing, and he will send this one to the left field wall. Off the wall, that'll bring in a run, and a good read here by Bogaerts, who came around and will get all the way to third base. An RBI double here for Hanley Ramirez, and the Red Sox take a 1-0 lead.
It's Hanley doing what Hanley does best, just lofting a ball deep into the outfield, off the bricks out there and left. Great read by Mookie coming around first. He knew that it was going to be off the wall. Pedroia was the only guy that had to hold in case it was caught. Doesn't really matter because he scores easily once that ball drops.
I said Bogaerts, beg your pardon. Mixing up my killer bees here on day 1 of the preseason.
Easy to do when they're swarming.
The bees are known to swarm in Boston during baseball season. But Hanley Ramirez, again, looked locked in yesterday, and an RBI double here to begin his second game of the Grapefruit League season. And that'll bring up the left-handed hitting Mitch Moreland, the new first baseman. Men on second and third, and still just one out. Moreland coming over for Texas, signing a free agent contract in the offseason. Well, we said you'll see Hanley Ramirez at DH probably more than anyone else when it's all said and done. It's also now an opportunity, not that there's any upside to losing David Ortiz, but they can rotate some different guys through that DH. Chris Young might get the DH a little bit more. Xander Bogaerts, who showed a little bit of fatigue late in the season last year, might get to DH once in a while and catch a breath. They can rotate guys, which is what most teams do now with the DH. Chopper here to second base, rather, the right side. And that'll be enough to get the run in. So an RBI for Moreland and a 2-0 lead for the Sox.
Had a little conversation with Hanley about DHing, and as you talked about his numbers, they're outstanding in the opportunities that he had. And he said, I don't care, because one way or another, he goes, I'm still going to get my at-bats. I don't mind if I'm not playing in the field. I get my chance to get to the plate. And then he said, you know, I can do it all.
Hanley's having fun this spring. I think that's safe to say. I asked him today, third, fourth, is there a place you want to hit in the lineup? He goes, I'll bet leadoff, power and speed. Chris Young coming up here. First pitch swinging. Foul ball back. Off the netting and then caught, so that will not be a catch. Good job by Murphy tracking that, but it hit off the netting. Did he catch it? Did it pop out at the end?
Popped out there, but
there you go.
As you said, didn't matter either way.
Chris Young's second season in the Red Sox organization. And a guy who will get a lot of opportunities to hit left-handed hitting. Remember last year they didn't face a lefty for the first 14 games of the season. You've talked about that. Memorial Day once, you didn't get a chance to start a game.
And that messed him up for a long time. And people were saying, why do we sign this guy? But I think he proved later on in the year why he was here. You can't go through spring training getting consistent at bats and then go and sit on the bench for 3 weeks.
A .327 batting average and a .980 OPS against lefties over the last 2 seasons, amongst the best numbers of anybody in baseball.
After one of the slowest starts ever.
2-0 lead here for the Sox in the bottom of the first. Hughes misses inside as Young gets out of the way.
Young is in the final year of his Red Sox contract.
Ground ball, diving stab there as up and throwing across the diamond is Haig, and he'll make a nice play to get the out. So good defensive play by Haig to end the inning for the Red Sox with 2 runs on 3 hits. Take a 2-0 lead into the second. Back here for the top of the second, the Red Sox with a 2-0 lead. Let's check in for the first time today with Karen Austin. Hey, Karen.
Hi, TC. Well, several relievers will be making their first appearances of the spring. Joe Kelly, Matt Barnes, and newly acquired Tyler Thornburg are scheduled to take the mound today. John Farrell said it's a very exciting group in the bullpen with power and strikeout ability. And guys, he talked a lot about Thornburg. He said he's been impressive so far, whether it's been live BP or bullpens. And Farrell said that when they were talking about securing that 8th inning guy, Thornburg's name was constantly talked about in scouting meetings, and they're really happy to have acquired him.
Yeah, thank you, Garen. It's a hard-throwing bullpen now. A lot of power arms out there. That's been an evolution. And certainly had someone like Koji Uehara who was so effective but wasn't ever going to overpower anybody. They've got guys they think can overpower you now.
And then added Brad Ziegler as well. 2 guys that threw slower than anybody else in the game. But they were effective as well.
Second inning here for Elias after a 12-pitch 1-2-3 first inning, couple of strikeouts. Looked very good in that first inning. We talked about the emergence of his curveball and using that. If he can become a a 3-pitch pitcher and use that curveball along with the fastball changeup, they believe he's got the stuff to succeed at the major league level. Byung-ho Park here to lead off the second inning.
One of the things that makes him successful, or has made him successful, at least at the minor league level, is he's got a bunch of different arm angles. He can sling it at you. He comes over the top sometimes. He's got good action on all his pitches. And as you said, if he can mix in the curveball to go along with the changeup, changeup's always been one of his best pitches. And that's a hard pitch to master, but he's got that down. Spot that fastball, throw the curveball. He can be effective.
Missing outside there. Interesting you talk about the differing arm angles, and John Farrell this morning telling me one of the things they're working on him is trying to stay up top a little more. Don't come down three-quarter because he'll fall out of his rhythm and lose some of the consistency on his pitches as Park sends this one to center field, and it's gone. That's off the batter's eye, up above the wall, a home run to lead off the second for Park, and it's a 2-1 game.
If you're going to try to get inside on a guy like Park, you got to get it in there, because if you miss out over, that ball's going to be absolutely walloped to dead center field. Probably a 400-foot shot there, easy.
Last year, Park burst on the scene in April as a rookie. Hit his first major league home run April 8th, and then had 6 home runs in April, which was second most of any rookie in baseball, most of any AL rookie. But numbers slowly tailed off, and as you pointed out, he was designated for assignment in February, the beginning of this month. Not claimed, taken back. He's theirs with a big contract and not on the 40-man roster. He's got to have a strong spring to make this team.
Yeah, there was a couple factors for that. Obviously, the contract that he signed, they still owe him $9 million. So nobody really wanted to take a crack at that. So when he was taken off the roster, nobody else wanted him. They brought him back into the organization. He also had a finger surgery last year that slowed him down.
Ben Paulson here with a swing and a miss there. Signed as a minor league free agent, spent the last 3 years with the Colorado Rockies as Elias. After a 1-2-3 first inning now, giving up the leadoff home run to Park.
And as you talked about before with Elias, watch the way he falls off of the mound. Not just the arm angles, but he falls towards the Red Sox dugout after every pitch that he throws. And that can mess with your mechanics. If you're not perfect, you can have troubles. The guys that have perfect mechanics still have issues sometimes, you know. You don't want to be throwing other things onto the pile that can hurt you.
2-2. Fouled off. So Paulson stays alive. When the scouting report, when you talk to scouts about Elias, is that curveball we talked about. When he falls off too much like that, that shoulder then trails the body, and it's a big
flattens
looping
out. Yep.
Or a flat curveball as he tries to overcompensate. It's very hittable. When he can stay tight with the shoulder and stay on top of the rubber as he delivers, it's a biting breaking ball, and Paulson chases one here for the third strikeout of the game for Elias.
He does throw a lot of stuff at you before the ball gets delivered, so it's really tough on the lefties.
Came down a little bit that time. Struck out 3 of the 5 batters he has faced here, as Matt Haig steps into the box, the third baseman. Takes ball 1.
Matt Haig, pretty versatile guy. Third base is his normal position. Went and played in Japan last season. Went over, made some money, came back. Signed with the Twins.
Played a little bit with the Toronto Blue Jays a couple of years ago. Had been with the Pirates prior to that. And again, he's part of that battle at just about every position for this Minnesota team that we said lost a franchise record 103 games last year after starting the season 0-9. Just never got out of that hole. And changeover in the front office after that, new executives, kept Paul Molitor in his 3rd season as the manager.
And after an excellent season the year before. Team that kind of came out of nowhere.
You can look at the projected lineup and figure Joe Mauer, Brian Dozier, and Miguel Sano are there. Maybe everything else is up for grabs. So that's fouled off to the right side. Their big offseason signing was Jason Castro, the catcher. Not in the lineup today. Castro signing a 3-year, $24.5 million deal, which surprised a lot of people. He hit .210 last year, but is very good at framing pitches and a good handler of a pitching staff, and his pitching staff had the second highest ERA in all of baseball last year. Elias tries to get Haig to chase. Count now full. '30th pitch coming up for Elias, and that'll be a fly ball to center field. Getting over there is Selski to make the catch for the second out of the inning. Look at the umpires today. Sam Holbrook is behind the plate. Clint Fagan, Jeremy Rahak, and John Bacon out on the base paths on an absolutely picture-perfect day here at JetBlue Park in Fenway South. Just a slight breeze. We're in the low 80s, not too much humidity. The sun was a little foggy this morning, and then it burned off around 10 a.m., and that sun has been baking out on the field. As that one sails away from Vasquez, ball one.
I think everybody knows if you're back home in New England, if you're coming down to watch spring training games, bring your sunblock. You're going to need it.
And you are preaching that more than ever.
Oh, yeah, a couple bouts with skin cancer.
Eduardo Escobar takes ball two. You just have the stitches removed. You've got the butterfly bandages on the arm to show.
I did, yeah. Those fell off too in the shower. But yeah, I actually had the team doctors cut my stitches out of my arm after having those in there for about 2 weeks.
Escobar, 3.
Medically, yeah. No more signs of skin cancer. Let's put it that way. At least for this checkup. (3-1) fouled off. Count full now. Of course, want to send our thoughts out to Jerry Remy, who hopefully is watching up north. Jerry, publicly last week, talked about his latest bout with cancer. Had it treated. He's feeling great. And if this game was at Fenway Park,
he'd be doing it right now, but not ready to travel. In a couple more weeks, then we'll get him down here to spring training, and he'll be with us at the end of spring training before the regular season begins.
Yeah, get a few spring training reps before the regular season starts.
There is Young to make the catch and end the inning. So a home run from Park makes it a 2-1 lead for the Red Sox as they come up in the bottom of the second. This Red Sox spring training game on NESN is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Ace Ticket is Boston's trusted source for Red Sox, Bruins, and Celtics tickets. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS to treat someone special to a game now. Sandoval, Selsky, and Vasquez due up here for the Red Sox. Phil Hughes back out after a 21-pitch first inning. Sox with a 2-1 lead. RBI double from Hanley Ramirez and an RBI ground out from Mitch Moreland. And a bunt here for Sandoval, who wants to show you how fast he is coming into the season. Throw just beats him there. First out of the inning. It's the last time you saw Pablo Sandoval bunt.
I don't think I ever have. It's not a bad effort right there. I mean, gets down the line pretty well for, you know, a slightly less bigger guy than he used to be. Leading off an inning, why not?
I'm not sure I put slightly there. I mean, he has lost 30 pounds. I think that's about what they're saying, although he said he doesn't go by the numbers. He just looks, feels, and is playing better. To bring up Steve Selsky here, the center fielder today, claimed off waivers from the Cincinnati Reds last season. Made his major league debut last season and in a short sample hit well for the Reds. A .314 batting average in 51 at-bats. See his numbers in Louisville. .280 for the bats. 1-1 the count here from Hughes.
Now, when you talk about Pablo Sandoval, I think you just got to go to the Wayback Machine with him. You know, you got to do a do-over. I mean, he had a rough first season, and obviously last year was a disaster, but it looks to me like he's serious about getting in better shape and playing better baseball. But I really feel like Red Sox fans expected more out of him than he was able to give. I mean, he's about a 260, 265 hitter.
There's a base hit for Selsky as he goes to the opposite field here with one out of the bottom of the second.
Good piece of hitting right there. And, you know, he's going to hit, you know, he'll hit you 13 to 18 home runs. He's not going to be a 30 home run guy.
By the way, you know my doctrine on good piece of hit.
Anytime
it's always opposite field.
Always.
So you're in mid-season form.
Good
dropping
piece of hitting
good
right
piece of hitting on the opposite field single from Selsky. I've never seen someone pull one down the line and get told it was a good piece of hit.
Never is.
But a good piece of hitting there for Steve Selsky brings up Christian Vasquez with one out and one on at the bottom of the second. Vasquez.
Sometimes when you go the other way, it's just because you were late, you got jammed, and you hit the ball the other way, and it's a good piece of hitting. But right there, Selsky, that pitch was down and away from him. He hung in there, he let it travel, and then shot it into right field. That was a good piece of hit.
Vasquez, of course, returned last season after missing all of 2015 after undergoing Tommy John surgery. Runner going. Vasquez will foul that off.
Little hit and run right there. Get things going in the early going. Put people in motion. See what happens.
Thanks for joining us here on a gorgeous afternoon here at the ballpark. Tom Kerr and Steve Lyons with you. And we had a conversation earlier this week about how some broadcast teams don't always, or they do always want to wear the same shirts. And you and I agree, we don't have to wear the same color.
Nope.
Wear whatever
like
you want.
8 different shirts.
So we said, you know, don't even talk about it. We'll wear whatever you want. Sure enough, we show up today in identical blue shirts.
And we blend right into the background here. You can't even see us. It's just our heads floating.
Just my size 8 head popping up out of nowhere. That's what people need. Checking back on the runner here, Phil Hughes. Step back up. There's a rough season for Hughes last year. Missed most of the year. He fractured his left femur, a broken leg, taking a line drive on the mound. When he came back, he developed thoracic outlet syndrome and had season-ending surgery on his shoulder. Ground ball to third, around the horn for the double play to end the inning. So the 5-4-3 double play ends it, and the Sox still lead by 1 after 2. Jordan's Furniture is the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Right now, get up to 60 months with no interest with equal payments. Furnish one room or your entire home. Best of all, you'll get to enjoy it now. Visit Jordans.com for details. New pitcher here to start the third inning. Tyler Thornburg will make his first appearance in a Red Sox uniform. 6th Major League season. First 5 all with Milwaukee, acquired in the offseason. A trade that sent Travis Shaw, Mauricio Dubon, right-handed pitcher Josh Pennington, and a player to be named later. This is a guy Dave Dombrowski targeted as an important late-inning setup guy, hard-throwing 8th-inning guy. He will be the guy to get the ball to Craig Kimbrell, although he's also a guy that you might bring in the 7th if that's when the heart of the order is coming up.
It was kind of a breakout season for him in that role last year, too, in Milwaukee. Kind of settled into what he really is meant to be as a pitcher, and then the Red Sox went and scooped him up.
12.1 strikeouts per 9 innings, was 5th most of any National League pitcher last season. Quickly ahead of John Ryan Murphy, the catcher, 0-2 here. Murphy, the former Yankee catcher. So a good first outing for Rowen's Elias. Threw just 36 pitches, gave up the 1 home run. That was it. 3 strikeouts.
I think that's all he's looking to do, is go out there and show people that he's still got the stuff to pitch at the major league level.
There's the 2-2 from Thornburg. Fouled off.
The thing with Thornburg will be like any other player that comes from a different organization into Boston for the first time. Saw it with Porcello, we saw it with Price, and now Moreland and Thornburg and Sale have that opportunity to make that adjustment to playing in Boston.
Slap towards right field. Pedroia can't get there in time, so that'll be a bloop base hit for Murphy here to lead off the 3rd against Thornburg.
All right, I got to see too many uglier hits than that right there. Just
not a good piece of hit.
That's just a duck snort over there.
Just hung up there, tantalizing Pedroia, who gave it a good effort to get, but it drops in for the base hit. Now Tommy Field, the second baseman, will come up with a man on. Thornburg at one point out of the bullpen last year. In May and June for the Brewers, retired 26 consecutive batters, a Milwaukee franchise record for a reliever. Became the closer over the last couple of months of the season when the Brewers traded away Jeremy Jeffress to Texas. Picked up 11 saves with a 1.85 ERA as a closer.
And what do you think about moving from an organization like Milwaukee, where there's no pressure, there's nothing going on, you're not going to win, to coming to the bright lights, playing for the Red Sox now?
Yeah, we've seen some guys take it to another level, embracing that adrenaline. Others have struggled with that adjustment. Here's a line drive that'll drop in front of center fielder Selski. It's a back-to-back singles here to begin Thornburg's first appearance of the spring. Numbers 8 and 9 hitters.
Ball just left up is all.
And that'll bring us back to Drew Stubbs. Took a called 3rd strike to lead off the game against Rowen's Elias. Takes a called strike here from Thornburg. Thornburg has appeared in 144 games over the last 5 seasons for Milwaukee. And he's quickly ahead here, 0-2. Last year was the first time he pitched exclusively as a reliever over an entire major league season. 67 appearances in all last year. Did have a couple of seasons prior to that when he was called up and pitched out of the bullpen. But he was moved into that late inning role, and that's really when he seemed to thrive. I talked to him about it this winter, and he said having a more defined role, being able to come in late in the game, he felt allowed him to harness his velocity and really come in and sort of gear it up, knowing he's going to come in for the 3 outs in the 7th or 8th inning.
Yeah, you're not going multiple innings, so you're not really looking to establish anything. You're going in there to blow people away.
And he gets strike 3. So for the second time today, Stubbs takes a called 3rd strike. The first out of the 3rd inning.
And that's going to hurt the Twins, too, if they're looking for Stubbs to be a leadoff guy, because he just never has been. Too tall for one and strikes out too often. This is a guy who stole 40 bases in a season a few years ago, but can't steal first.
And that'll bring up the left-handed hitting Danny Santana. Last season, Thornburg limited lefties to a .413 OPS, the 2nd lowest mark in all of Major League Baseball. Only a guy by the name of Kershaw had more success against lefties.
He's pretty good.
Not bad.
Santana jumps over to the other side as a switch hitter. He'll take his at-bat left-handed here.
Vasquez up quickly, showing off that arm that prior to the Tommy John surgery was such a terrific weapon for him. And spoke with him earlier in camp. He was saying there's no question he didn't realize how limited he was throwing last season coming back from Tommy John until he came back this year and felt that arm back. Matt Wieters talked about that back in Baltimore coming back from his Tommy John. You think you're back, but you're not quite back until a full offseason after that. Swing and a miss there.
Yeah, I think for a lot of those guys that have a Tommy John surgery, they can come back and be healthy, but it doesn't mean that they've regained the strength in that arm, and that takes a little bit longer. And when you're a catcher who features the strength of your arm as one of your greatest assets, surprisingly missing.
Here's the 1-2 from Thornburg. Just missing inside. Vasquez holding on that extra beat, hoping to get the call. If Vasquez's arm is back to what it was with Sandy Leon and Christian Vasquez, you have 2 of the better throwing catchers in baseball.
And they do it in different ways too. Sandy Leon's a little bit more about footwork and quick release. He does have a strong arm, but not in the same realm as Vasquez. Try to frame that one again.
So 3-2 the count now to Santana with 2 on and 1 out here in the 3rd.
Vasquez, a lot of his issues last year to go along with the strength is that everything was starting to tail on him. He's starting to throw the ball inside the second base bag.
Fly ball left field. Chris Young getting back after it. He won't get there as it'll be off the wall. Played well by Selsky, the center fielder, getting it in. Here is the throw, not in time. And an RBI single for Santana ties the game up at 2.
Now Selsky played the ball beautifully off that left field wall and got it into Bogaerts. I thought they were going to have a chance, but Murphy actually showed some pretty good speed right off the top of the wall to Selsky. He gets it in, but then the relay just not in time.
So that'll bring up Robbie Grossman. Still 2 on 1 out. Tie game now. 2-2 our score here in the 3rd. Thornburg has given up base hits to 3 of the 4 batters he's faced. This one fouled back. Robbie Grossman last season began the spring with Cleveland and then was demoted to AAA, had an opt-out clause in his contract, opted out, was picked up by Minnesota. Wound up being a pretty good player for them. Made his Twins debut May 20th, went 3 for 4 with a double, a homer, 3 RBI. Reached safely in each of his first 9 games with the Twins, and then when it was all said and done, had the 3rd highest OPS of any switch hitter in the American League last year.
Yeah, he just came up and stole a job. When you think about it, when you're in AAA with a different organization and then someone else picks you up and you come up there and steal a job, that doesn't happen. They gave him an opportunity and he just never gave it back.
27-year-old out of Houston, Texas, still in a battle. Like we said, everything is a battle for the most part with this Minnesota team. He and Eddie Rosario are kind of battling for that left field starting spot coming into the season. It's a 23rd pitch of the inning for Thornburg, and that misses inside. So 3-1 the count to Grossman.
Not the type of sharp outing that Thornburg was looking for, but of course this is his first outing of spring training, so got a month or so to work out the kinks.
There's the 3-1 pitch. Misses inside. So he walks Grossman to load the bases here with the cleanup hitter Park coming up to bat.
Nobody to put him.
Well, meeting at the mound, Carl Willis will come out, Red Sox pitching coach.
Nice guy, they're gonna put you in. You ready?
A little conversation with Thornburg. Thornburg, one of the key off-season acquisitions for the Red Sox, and I was down at the winter meetings when that deal was announced, and his moment in the sun lasted about 90 minutes because that's when they announced that Chris Sale was being acquired from the Chicago White Sox. And then by the end of the day, they had signed Mitch Moreland to a one-year deal. So Dave Dombrowski did all his Christmas shopping in about 18 hours down in Washington, D.C. Gary DiSarcina, also named bench coach, replacing Torey Lovello, now the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And there's Gary DiSarcina, former NESN analyst, who he once again, like so many other guys who have worked with me, went screaming from TV as fast as he could.
And on to bigger and better things.
Someday I'll make something out of you, Steve.
Someday.
Stick with me, kid.
Don't underestimate the role that DiSarcina will be playing on this team too. I mean, it's a very valuable situation to have a liaison between the manager and the players. Torey Lovello was that guy. DiSarcina will step into that role.
Yeah, it's funny how the position of bench coach has evolved in Major League Baseball. A manager now does a lot of managing up, talking to baseball operations, the GM, the president of baseball operations. You need that bench coach to sort of be the guy in the clubhouse for you when you can't be there. It's a high fly ball to center field. Selski getting under it. He'll send it into Bogarts, and the Twins on the sacrifice fly from Park will take their first lead of the game. Got it deep enough to easily bring in field from third base. It's a 3-2 lead for Minnesota. So battle here for Thornburg in the third inning, as he will now face Ben Paulson. Paulson struck out against Elias back in the second inning. Takes ball one here. But DiSarcina well suited to the position. Now again, managed when he left NESN, managed the Lowell Spinners, at one point managed the Pawtucket Red Sox. Yep. Went back to the Angels, where he played for 10 years as a base coach, and a base hit here to right field for Paulson. The throw coming across the diamond. Sandoval will get after her there. So an RBI single for Paulson in a three-run inning rather for the Minnesota Twins off Thornburg here in the third, and that will do it for Thornburg as John Farrell will come out. The RBI single for Paulson, ending the first outing for Tyler Thornburg, and the Minnesota Twins have a 4-2 lead as Thornburg leaves the game after a 29-pitch outing in the third inning. We'll come back. Spring training baseball continuing after this. All right, let's take a look at the upcoming events at Foxwoods Resort Casino. On March 3rd, Amy Schumer will be there. On June 24th, Steve Miller and Peter Frampton.
Let's go.
Back in the day.
I hope we have a day game that day. Sneak down there and
Do
see the show.
you feel like we do? A 30-minute version if you see it live. Peter Frampton. Here's Matt Barnes coming in now with 2 down in the 3rd inning. Matt Barnes in relief of Tyler Thornburg, who could not get through the inning. Barnes coming off his best season yet. Wound up being the busiest reliever for the Red Sox last season as they built trust. The big righty out of Connecticut. Another one of those hard-throwing bullpen arms we've talked about. Drops this one in for strike 1.
Barnes is one of those guys where you just can't figure out why anyone ever gets a hit off of him. His stuff is so nasty. Throws hard, got good breaking stuff, everything's sharp. It's all about location with him.
Led all Sox relievers with 62 appearances and 66 and 2/3 relief innings. 1-1 the count. Made the opening day roster last year for the first time. Made his postseason debut in Game 2 of the series against Cleveland as well. Relieved David Price with 1 out in the 4th inning. And gave up just 1 unearned run over an inning and 2/3. One and 1 the count to Haig. He'll miss outside. Men on 2nd and 3rd here in the 3rd inning. The runner Paulson was able to advance to second base. That was a throwing error from Mookie Betts.
Yep.
Sandoval did a good job getting a piece of it to keep it from going into the dugout. No further runs. But Paulson did advance, so the error on Betts.
Those are tough errors that outfielders pick up when you're throwing to a base and the ball and the runner and the fielder and everything kind of gets there at the same time. And if everything isn't handled perfectly, that ball will skip away. Someone's going to move up and they give you an error for that. It's not really fair, but you got to give the error to somebody.
Men on 2nd and 3rd. 2-2 the count. 2 outs. 4-2 Minnesota lead here in the 3rd. Fouled off as Haig stays alive. Last season, Barnes held opposing hitters to a 181 batting average with runners in scoring position. That was the 3rd lowest mark of any American League pitcher last year.
And he found himself in that situation quite often. Barnes was not the guy that they gave clean innings to. They would bring him in this situation with runners all over the place and asking him to get the Sox out of it.
Stranded 38 of 49 runners he inherited, but this will be a little bloop that'll drop in fair. 2 runs will come in to score. Haig continuing on to second base, and it's a 2-run double for Haig and a 5-run inning for the Twins.
Well, you look at the way this inning started with the little blooper down the right field line from Murphy, and now that blooper down the right field line that's going to score a couple more runs. Boy, that's 2 ugly base hits that are hurting the Red Sox here in this inning.
So Barnes came in to face Haig with men on 2nd and 3rd. Got it to 2 strikes. Haig able to foul one off and then drop that one in on the bloop. 2-run double. And that'll bring up Eduardo Escobar as the Twins bat around here in the 3rd. Escobar lined out to left field against Elias in the 2nd inning. Barnes missing upstairs there. Barnes with 99 appearances at the major league level since making his debut in 2014. First round draft pick out of the University of Connecticut.
It's actually in the front of our... All right, you're drinking.
Escobar fouls it off there. Barnes played along with George Springer of the Houston Astros last year. Did a real nice interview with the two of them prior to the game at Fenway Park. Later that night, Springer hit a grand slam off Barnes.
That wasn't as much fun.
Not sure I will get the opportunity to interview the two of them again. I think Barnes might decline next time around.
Two more swings.
Pitch from Barnes, swing and a miss. 2-2 the count to Escobar. John Farrell told me earlier when talking about those power arms out of the bullpen, he said 3 years ago the Red Sox had the third lowest average fastball velocity in the majors. And they clearly went about addressing that issue because baseball now is a game of hard throwing bullpens. And Barnes rears back, and a swing and a miss from Escobar will end the inning. But a big inning for the Minnesota Twins. 5 runs in the inning, and they've got a 6-2 lead as the Sox come up in the bottom of the third.
Every time.
Enjoy the Fenway experience with your group of 2017 Red Sox group outings are the perfect way to entertain your clients, employees, students, and teams while taking in an unforgettable event. Visit redsox.com/groups for more information. So the Red Sox now find themselves down 6-2. New pitcher here for the Minnesota Twins is Tyler Duffy, the 26-year-old righty. Will come in after 2 innings of work for Phil Hughes. Hughes gave up the 2 runs on 4 hits. Struggled in the first inning, but then the double play to end the second inning changed everything there. You see Duffy last season in 26 starts, 9-12 with a 6.43 ERA. Started the season in AAA last year, and in 3 starts with Rochester put up a 1.72 earned run average, got the call up, and was terrific at the start for the Twins. In his first 4 starts, his ERA was under 2. Saw the final numbers as that entire pitching staff struggled last season, wound up leading the team in wins and losses. As Pedroia gives this one a ride to center field, Stubbs back there gets under it for the first out of the inning.
That was a big problem with the Twins last year. Obviously ineffective pitching. Guys that just blew up. And then offensively, they weren't the same team from 2 seasons ago when they had a lot of young players that came up and had instant success. They weren't able to duplicate that. When I talked to Paul Molitor about it, he said, look, this is a bunch of young guys that are still looking for their own identity, and they didn't make adjustments when the league adjusted to them.
Here's Aaron Bogaerts, who grounded to short in the first inning. Bogaerts will be leaving the team on Tuesday to head to the World Baseball Classic, the Netherlands team. It's a team made up of all shortstops.
Yeah.
Just a slight exaggeration. So many shortstops.
Like 5 of them.
He won't play shortstop. He'll be playing third base.
I mean, there's a lot of discussion about the WBC and the disruption that it can be to a major league team. Obviously, if one of your players leaves and they're in the finals, you could be gone for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and he will have to do some traveling because the Netherlands team opens up in South Korea. If they win the group in Seoul, they will then go to Tokyo. If they were to make it through that stage, they would then go to Los Angeles. So nothing's close to home.
And but the flip side of that, the disruption, and there's another guy that will be playing in it, Hanley Ramirez.
Ground ball here for Bogaerts, and it's off the glove of Escobar. And Bogaerts with 1 out.
Not sure they would have got him anyway. They'll probably score that a hit.
You'd think.
But the flip side of the whole WBC situation, especially for a guy like Bogaerts, who's so proud and happy to represent his country playing in it.
That is scored as a base hit. Well, his reasoning was simple because some people have decided not to play this year. They don't want to disrupt their routine. He said, I did it in 2013, wound up winning a World Series with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
I'll go do it again this year. Why change anything? So with 1 out and 1 on, Mookie Betts hit a single and scored a run back in the first inning. Part of that 2-run first inning. Pedroia had led off the game with a double for the Red Sox. And a single with 1 out for Betts and an RBI double for Hanley Ramirez. Followed by an RBI ground out from Mitch Moreland. Made it 2-0 Red Sox. 6 unanswered runs, including that 5-run third inning. The Minnesota Twins, and we've got a 6-2 Twins lead. 0-1 pitch to Betts. Off the bat, foul ball.
Spring training games are a little different, and there can be some regular season games that are kind of quirky, but we talk about knockout innings, and when you have a 5-run inning, there's your knockout inning. It's really hard to recover from a 5-run inning.
Is that one of your rules along with the 10-hit game?
Yeah, 10 hits you win, right?
5-run inning, you should win?
Yeah, you should win. Spring training, all the rules go out the window.
Yeah, yesterday Red Sox pitching, striking out 16 Mets. You think you have a pretty good chance to win that game. Instead, they were beaten 3-2.
Starting right now, we'll see a procession of different pitchers coming in almost every inning.
Betts with a grounder to short. Escobar will get it started. The 6-4-3 double play will end it. It's over the second inning. Yeah, a little stumble there for Betts for the second inning. A double play ends it as we head to the 4th here in Fort Myers.
At City Hall Plaza is the
Welcome back to JetBlue Park. It's the top of the fourth. The Twins have a 6-2 lead over the Red Sox. I'm Garen Austin. Hello, everyone. Well, Mitch Moreland had a pretty impressive debut for the Red Sox. He hit a 3-run homer in the first game against Northeastern. After the game, Moreland said, "It's good to get everything going. It's a great group of guys, and he's very happy to be in a Red Sox uniform." Moreland also told me that he's always loved Boston, and his wife would usually join him on trips to the city when he was with the Rangers. He said he did have a hard time finding a house, but they are very excited to call Boston home. And guys, when he was asked what the biggest difference was between spring training here and in Arizona, he said the fishing is much better here.
And make no mistake, he is all about the fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Mississippi boy at heart as you take a look at the change here in the field.
Lives in Birmingham, Alabama now.
Devin Marrero at second base for the Red Sox. Also, by the way, Kevin Bowles is the first base coach going forward. Won't be out there right now. Keep track of all the changes for you here.
Coaching. There's a different trainer on the field.
Although Steve Lyons expected to go the distance here in the booth today.
God willing.
6-2 Minnesota lead. Matt Barnes back out here for the fourth inning. John Ryan Murphy will lead off. Missing there. Murphy with the single that started the big inning last inning. A 9-batter inning as they batted around. Well, that's up for debate, and I've heard players make this argument. If 9 batters get up to the plate, have they batted around? Some players believe the 10th guy needs to get up for the second time for it to be batting around. Where do you stand on this controversial issue, Steve?
Well, I think if 9 players come to the plate, you have batted around the order, but nobody got to hit twice.
Pop fly here, and Marrero just in the game makes the first out of the inning. The sounds of spring training baseball are in the air, and before you know it, the sounds of the Plain Ridge Park Casino Fenway concert series will be in the air at Fenway Park. Limited tickets remain for James Taylor with Bonnie Raitt on August 11th. Get your tickets at redsox.com/James Taylor. I agree with you, by the way. 9 batters means you batted around in my definition. You and I would make a lousy sports radio show if we're going to agree with each other all the time. Well, we're supposed to pick a side and yell at each other.
And on top of which, when that happens, it doesn't mess up your scorecard, too. If that extra guy comes up, now you start messing around. You got to cross out things.
It's a big strikeout from Matt Barnes. Saved our card there. First card of the season. I was not prepared for the batting around. Barnes again back out. Tommy Field, the number 9 hitter on a base hit last inning.
Gives Barnes a little bit of a different look as well. Not that he hasn't done this over the season, but he comes in the middle of an inning, sits down, goes back out to start another inning.
The 0-2 from Barnes, tried to get him chased down in the dirt.
The game has changed so significantly, especially out of the bullpen, with the way relievers are being used. Guys don't like to come into a game with guys on base. Other pitchers are used specifically in that situation. They're not going to come in unless there's trouble.
That in itself is a specialty now out of the bullpen, to come into the dirty inning.
Yeah. And to me, it's a little bit of an arrogant way of thinking to say that I'm a pitcher out of the bullpen, but I only come in if it's a clean inning. Don't even think about putting me in there if there are guys on base. How dare you do that? I mean, what's the world come to? I give you the ball, you go pitch. How about that?
Fouled off here as Field stays alive against Matt Barnes.
But it's a consideration for every manager. How will a guy handle that situation if you put him into a game where he's not as comfortable as a normal situation that he'd be in there? We talk a lot about it with closers. If they don't have that adrenaline going, if it's not a closing situation, if it's not a save situation, many closers aren't as effective.
2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and Barnes gets his second strikeout. And there are 2 down here in the 4th.
Like I said, sometimes he's so filthy.
Last year, a terrific first half, a 2.93 earned run average in 35 appearances before the All-Star break. Struggled a little bit in August, September, but then settled down at the end. A 6.08 after the break, but in his last 12 appearances gave up just 1 earned run in 8 innings. And then again, we told you, strong appearance, a multiple inning appearance in relief of David Price in the playoffs.
And going
Stubbs up for the third time, fouls it
back
off.
to that earlier conversation that, I think Craig Kimbrell was an excellent example of a guy who didn't really have his best stuff unless you put him in a situation where it was a safe opportunity.
Well, I think there's no question about that. The numbers back that up. Although it hasn't been that way throughout his career. Last season, it definitely was. Barnes missing outside there. I also think, while he will never admit it, and I've asked him, he came back very quickly from the knee injury, talking about Craig Kimbrell. He said 3 to 6 weeks. It was 3 weeks to the day. And if you look, those first couple of weeks back, he was not himself.
Yeah.
Was by the end of the season. But I think rushing back, even though he's medically cleared to play, hurt him. There's a long fly ball to right field. That is up, out, and gone.
There's the wind we talked about. It's not gusting out there, but it's enough to take a ball like that and push it out of here.
So Drew Stubbs, who had struck out twice in this one, it's an opposite field home run here to make it a 7-2 Twins lead.
It's one of the things Stubbs can do, hit the ball out of the park. Good balance of speed and power. He just strikes out a little bit too much. Pretty good pitch to hit when you leave a ball like that out over the middle of the plate. It gets hit a long ways.
So the Twins have scored in 3 straight innings here. 2 home runs. The Twins, Park off Elias back in the second. And now Stubbs here in the fourth with 2 outs against Matt Barnes. That'll bring up Danny Santana, 1 for 2. Had an RBI single in the third. Later scored in that big 5-run inning for the Twins. First of 6 meetings between these two teams. It's the Twins right down the road, the old Hammond Park. Century Link Park, I believe it's called now.
Another really nice place to watch a game, too. As you said, just right down the road. Of course, locally here, all the news outlets talking about traffic issues when both teams play a home game. That'll happen 3 times during the spring.
Swing and a miss there for Santana. Yeah, this is the highly coveted Governor's Cup, formerly the Mayor's Cup, as it was called. And last year, no one saw that 103-loss season coming because the Twins won 6 out of 7 spring training meetings against the Red Sox last year, running away with the Governor's Cup. It's just the second time in the last 10 years that Minnesota won the Cup down here.
There are so many things that you concern yourself with in spring training as an organization, and as certain players are trying to do different things. Wins and losses are at the bottom of that list.
Are you suggesting that the Governor's Cup is a media creation?
I don't know who created it.
Probably the mayor. Probably the mayor.
One of the governors.
Mayor's Cup. It's the Mayor's Cup. I don't know why they changed it to the Governor's Cup. I think that's something to do with the county. I don't know. Walk there for Santana with 2 down. In fact, I remember way back in the day, Jerry Remy would fashion a Mayor's Cup. He'd take like a souvenir, like a souvenir, soda cup from the concession stand with a baseball on top and write
straws in there. I don't know.
I think they actually have a trophy now.
Hey, the Governor's Cup was the trophy that we used to win if you won the AAA championship in the international.
Or is that the whole AAA, or is it just
right.
the international league?
Well, internationally,
you go on to and then you go on to play for the AAA.
So don't taint that.
Well,
the spring training trophy made out of pop tops and baseballs.
I'm sure you remember 3 years ago when the two teams split their spring training games and they had to share the Mayor's Cup for a year.
It's not good.
With 6 games, could happen again this year. Even number of games.
You don't know what to do with it then.
Well, I think it's like the Stanley Cup. I think everybody gets a day with it. Runner going here as Vasquez up and throwing. In there safely with a steal is Santana.
But there's a problem that we talked about right there with Vasquez last year. That ball tailing away from him and into the base runner, and makes it a much more difficult play for Bogaerts. Obviously, if you don't throw the ball on the bag, it's not as easy to get the out call at second base. That's something that still needs to be worked on. You got to come straight over the top as a catcher so that ball doesn't sail. It's almost like throwing a sinking fastball for a pitcher.
.1-0 pitch from Barnes. As Robbie Grossman 0 for 1 on the day with a walk and a run scored. Two down with a man on second. Swing and a miss there. So Barnes ahead of him 1-2. No Joe Mauer in the lineup. No Brian Dozier or Miguel Sano. With the extended spring training schedule because of the World Baseball Classic, some teams are holding their regulars till mid to late next week. Red Sox doing that with their starting rotation, which is why you won't see Chris Sale or Rick Porcello or David Price until probably mid to late next week.
Both Sale and Porcello in today's workouts had live batting practice sessions for their bullpen work. I walked past that backfield.
Swing and a miss there, so Barnes strikes out Grossman to end the inning with another run on the home run from Stubbs. And it is a 7-2 lead for the Twins. I talked about Chris Sale, and you're not pitching until mid to late week, so you get your work in with live batting practice. And whenever Chris Sale throws it, there is a crowd. And all you hear is the hitters coming away saying, boy, that was uncomfortable. Boy, he's hard to face. You look at his numbers here last season with the White Sox. One of the best pitchers in the game, and I know a lot of people looking forward to seeing him take the mound here in a spring training game.
Especially playing for a good ball club. You know, the White Sox were up and down in his career with them, and you could see him rattling off some big-time numbers on an outstanding club. I walked by the group of hitters that was set to face him today and said, man, who did you guys make mad today? Because nobody wants to face him.
Played his collegiate baseball right down the road at Florida Gulf Coast University. But again, he will make his first appearance with the Sox later in the week. Ryan Vogelsong, meantime, the 39-year-old, 10-year Major League veteran coming in to begin the bottom of the fourth here. The 7-2 lead, two-time world champion with the San Francisco Giants, 2012 and 2014. First year with Minnesota, signed a minor league free agent contract coming into the year. Last year was with the Pittsburgh Pirates, went back to Pittsburgh where he had started some 10 years earlier. Took a line drive in the face.
Yep.
Had surgery to replace multiple fractures there off the bat of Jordan Lyles. Returned in August.
He just went back and forth. Started his career in San Francisco, went to Pittsburgh, came back to San Francisco, went back to Pittsburgh.
Got a win in relief early in the year for Pittsburgh. It was his first win since 2005 for Pittsburgh. It's a long gap between wins. Of course, you won a couple World Series in between.
Yeah.
Great postseason pitcher.
What have you been doing?
Yeah, where you been? Tough winning championships. Hanley Ramirez, his second at bat of the day, an RBI double back in the first. Tried to hold up there, but couldn't. And Vogelsong, it's a 2-2 count.
I remember when I got traded back to the Red Sox in 1992, I'd been playing in Montreal. And when I got to the club, a couple guys asked me, where have you been, in AAA or what? I said, no, I was in Montreal.
What, you didn't have CBC? You didn't see me playing?
Clearly nobody had anything.
2-2 to Hanley. Gets the outside corner for the called strike 3. Hanley didn't like it, but one down here in the fourth inning. Tomorrow, after our Red Sox Tampa Bay Rays spring training broadcast from Port Charlotte, catch 2 episodes of Nesson Next Producer featuring student-produced baseball films. Nesson Next Producer is presented by Toyota's website for deals, buyatoyota.com. Bottom of the fourth inning here at JetBlue Park. One down, Mitch Moreland. Stepping up to the plate, Ryan Vogelsong strikes out Hanley Ramirez to begin this fourth inning. Vogelsong, his best year is 2011 with the Giants, an all-star that year, 13-7, his record with a 2.71 ERA.
Hey, look what the Twins are trying to do, too. Even though he's on a minor league deal, if he makes this club, he adds a lot of veteran leadership to that pitching staff. The same kind of a thing that they're doing with a guy like Drew Stubbs. Stubbs is an outstanding teammate.
Now Vogelsong trying to win a spot in the pen for the Minnesota Twins. 2-0 pitch to Moreland. Misses outside, so Mitch Moreland, who drove in the second run of the game back in the first inning, hit a home run in his first game with the Red Sox uniform, although it will not appear in any books because that was against Northeastern, and that's not even considered a spring training game.
Come on.
That's a pre-Grapefruit League exhibition. And ball 4, Moreland will draw the walk. So that'll be 1 out, 1 on for Chris Young here in the fourth.
So I guess Sam Travis doesn't get any credit for his 3-run homer in that game as well.
Nope. Great tradition, though, and you can see it. You come down on the field before the game. The college players so excited to play a major league team. A lot of the Northeastern kids are New England kids, Red Sox fans. Now you get a chance to go up against the team you cheer for. Young takes a called strike.
They were really excited, and they get to do it every year, too.
Yeah, no Boston College this year. The travel schedule for the Eagles, and again, because the World Baseball Classic forced an early start to spring training, the Eagles unable to line up their college schedule to match their trip south with a trip to Fenway.
The Northeastern Ball Club a little overextended, too. They had a 4-game series this weekend in Northern Florida up in Jacksonville, which is way more games than a college team generally will play. I think almost everybody knows that's the greatest difference between playing college baseball and pro baseball is the degree of consistency it takes.
There's a drive to center field for Chris Young. That is bouncing, lost in the sun there for the moment by Stubbs. It'll hit the warning track. Now coming all the way around and scoring is Moreland. And so the Red Sox get one back with an RBI double for Chris Young here in the fourth.
You know, I'm one of those guys that I don't care which way you turn and run on a ball as long as you know where you're going to turn back and find it. And a lot of great outfielders, we've seen him do it. But Stubbs turned the wrong way on that ball, and then when he turned back around, then lost it in the sun, so he had no chance of catching it. You know, we've both seen two outstanding outfielders, both Mookie Betts and Jackie Bradley Jr., turn technically the wrong way on the ball because they got a better jump going that way, but they had enough feel for where the ball was going to end up that they could turn back the correct way and make the play. That did not happen right there for Stubbs.
Stubbs illustrating the proper technique of how to run away from an alligator here in Florida. You do that serpentine left to right cut. Not what you want to do tracking down a fly ball.
No, especially when the sun's out.
So man in scoring position for Pablo Sandoval, who dropped a bunt in his first at-bat in the second inning. Fouls this one back to the netting. Trade to Travis Shaw, opening up third base for Sandoval. Last year, you remember, Shaw winning out the battle, unexpectedly somewhat, over the course of spring training. Then ultimately the shoulder injury for Sandoval shutting him down for the year, and a clear directive from the organization to get himself in better baseball shape. If you are a social media devotee, you saw the pictures from Sandoval posted repeatedly throughout the winter. But the Red Sox were clear that they were happy with the commitment. Stayed here in Fort Myers throughout the offseason, working with the trainers, working with the nutritionist, committing himself to getting in better shape. And now Sandoval says very much looking forward to putting all that behind him and showing what he can do on the field. There's an 0-2 pitch from Vogelsong, who was Sandoval's teammate in San Francisco when Pandamania was at its
and again, we started
height.
The conversation earlier about the expectations for Sandoval. I mean, you got to temper what you think this player is. And he's made his name in those playoffs.
Absolutely.
In the World Series, where he just had crazy playoff production. But during the regular season, he's more of a 260, 265 hitter. Very, very streaky. We've seen that out of him.
Yeah, he's a career 287 hitter in the majors, but a lot of that coming in his first 2 years with San Francisco, hitting 345 in his first season. When he was called up, 330 in his first full season. But since then, hitting 315 and 211, and then under 300 every year since, as you said, 279, 278 in his last two seasons before coming to Boston. But the postseason numbers are eye-popping, to say the least. He is a 344 career postseason hitter, and even better in the World Series. 426 over 3 World Series. Swing and a miss there for Sandoval. Held on to by the catcher, and second out of the inning with 2 strikeouts here for Vogelsong.
It's going to happen with Sandoval. He will strike out some. As we said before, what we've seen out of him in a Boston Red Sox uniform is a very streaky guy. A guy can get very, very hot for about a week or 10 days and then go away for the same period of time.
And that'll bring up Selski. Steve Selski had a single in the second inning. Swing and a miss here, facing Vogelsong for the first time. Hit 280 with AAA at Louisville, got 9 starts at the end of the season, making his major league debut. Had missed most of 2015 with a pair of injuries. Hit 317 in AAA around those injuries. So Red Sox claiming him off waivers as that one's down to the dirt. Chris Young will take third base. And you look at the Red Sox with Andrew Benintendi in left field. The outfield pretty well set. Jackie Bradley Jr. in center. Mookie Betts in right. Chris Young is your fourth outfielder. Brock Holt your super utility player who can play both infield and outfield. Tough for someone like Selske to crack the lineup. But over the course of the season, you always use more than the 4 outfielders you'll break camp with or the 5 outfielders. This guy has a good chance this spring to put himself on this team's radar.
That's all you're really trying to do. I mean, there's a number of guys in Major League Spring Training that are wearing a Red Sox uniform right now, but are playing for 29 other organizations. They're trying to be seen, trying to make an impression on the Red Sox. If you have a need later on the season, remember what I did for you. Remember what I can do. But if not, there are 29 other teams out there that may be looking for some help, and maybe I can help them.
He holds up there. Of course, the only problem is his name should be Belsky, because you got to be a killer bee to make that outfield.
Yeah, that's right. And you look at the outfield here, as you started to mention, when you talk about a guy who finished runner-up in the MVP voting and a Gold Glove, and a guy in center field who should have won a Gold Glove.
Ground ball from Selske. Making a stop there is Haig. Up around to throw, but unable to hold on to it is Park, and that'll bring in the run, and Selske running all the way to second base. It's a 2-run inning now for the Red Sox.
Haig making a decent diving play to his left, but then kind of got up and maybe hurried the throw just a little bit, maybe had more time. But when you go into this kind of a spin move right there, you're figuring you've got to really hurry up. So he just kind of short-armed it there a little bit and wasn't able to get the ball close enough to first base.
So Chris Young comes in. Moreland and Young scoring here in the inning. Sox getting 2 back. It's a 7-4 Minnesota lead now, with Christian Vasquez coming up to the plate. Sox with at least 1 hit in every inning.
Red Sox can chip away at that lead. Maybe overcome the wipeout inning of the 5th, where Minnesota scored 5.
They will score that. It looks like a hit and an error.
Yeah, I would think so.
Advancing to second base on the error. So each team with an error now. The Red Sox with 6 hits. Minnesota out hitting the Sox 7-6 right now. There's a fly ball from Vasquez. Stubbs can't get to it. Is that a roll to the wall? Selske will score, and it's a stand-up RBI double for Vasquez. Seven to 5 now as the Sox put together a rally here in the 4th.
Well, Vasquez put a charge into that one, but again, we see Stubbs with a little trouble out there in center field. Looked like he kind of took a bad route, was running straight across, and then the ball went over his head. Maybe you take a route a little more angled towards your center field wall there, you might have a little bit better chance catching that ball. Who knows? Most outfielders will tell you that the spring training ballparks you play and the weather you play in spring training, whether it be in Florida or Arizona, it doesn't get any tougher.
I'll bring up Devin Marrero for the first time. Today he came in relief of Dustin Pedroia. Pedroia played 3 innings. 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored. Marrero took over defensively in the top of the 4th, and now 2 down and a man on second, 3 runs in. And the Sox down by 2. One and 1 the count to Marrero. His 5th Major League Spring Training camp with the Sox. First round draft pick back in 2012. Takes a called strike. There's never been any questioning Marrero's ability defensively. Once again enters the season as Baseball America's top defensive prospect in the Red Sox organization. Can he hit well enough to stay in the majors? That is the question.
He can pick it. There's no question about that. But he's another one of those guys that really hasn't had a chance to establish himself at the major league level with any consistent playing time. He's up and down. He gets a little bit of a chance. A lot of time last year, even when he got his chance at the major league level, he sat on the bench mostly. That certainly doesn't help for when you get sent back down to AAA and you haven't played for 3 weeks.
13 games over 3 call-ups with the Red Sox last season. Most of the year in AAA Pawtucket. Fouls off, pitch from Vogelsong, 2-2. Stay the count. Hit 198 with the Paw Sox last season. But again, as good as it comes defensively, has some speed as well. 10 or more stolen bases in each of the last 5 AAA campaigns. It's the 2-2 pitch. Outside. Have a full count. So Vogelsong laboring here, 30 pitches here in the 4th inning. 3 runs in on 3 hits and an error. Vogelsong will step off the mound.
Foul ball.
Foul ball there. The battle continues between Vogelsong and Marrero. 2014, when Marrero got the call from Portland up to Pawtucket, finished the season being named Red Sox Minor League Defensive Player of the Year. Again, has been the primary shortstop for the Paw Sox since, but they've moved him around to different bases as well. Let's see if he can handle that utility role should he get the chance to stick with the major league level, and he'll take ball 4 to draw the walk and keep the inning going here in the 4th.
I think it just goes to show you the premium that Major League Baseball puts on the defensive ability.
And so that will do it for Vogelsong, as Molitor will come out and take the ball here. So 2 on, and a 2-run lead for the Twins. Will come back. The 4th inning continues here at Fort Myers. MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, enjoy almost 300 spring training games and the 2017 World Baseball Classic. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. So the Red Sox putting together a good inning here in the 4th. And Xander Bogaerts tried to keep it going against the young lefty Randy Rosario. Rosario just 22 years old. And in his second spring training with the big club, signed as a 16-year-old from the Dominican Republic back in 2010.
Another one of those kids out of the Dominican Republic that's virtually known nothing but baseball in his life. He signed a professional contract at 16. He's now 22. Unbelievable.
And knows Fort Myers well last year out of camp. Spent most of the year in single-A Fort Myers, where he posted a 3.34 earned run average. Got called up to Double-A Chattanooga and made 4 relief appearances for the Lookouts, giving up 7 runs in 6 innings. Pitched well in the Arizona Fall League, which is often a major hurdle for young players to overcome. So many of the young prospects, the best young prospects, come together in Arizona for fall ball. They liked his development there, now with the big club. And again, a team coming off a 103-loss season is willing to give just about anybody a good look.
All hands on deck. You know, you think about it too. You sign at 16. What are you? You know, you're a junior in high school somewhere else. You know, the development process. People wonder, well, if he signed that long ago, why is he still pitching an A-ball? Well, shoot, he's a kid.
Here's the 1-2 from Rosario. Bogarts takes it for ball 2.
As you said, finally, maybe things turn in the corner for him. Arizona Fall League, he did well. You know, finally starting to mature a little bit as a physical ball player rather than being a child playing baseball, really.
Bogarts gets out of the way of that one, so it'll be a 3-2 count here with 2 down and 2 on. And a 2-run Minnesota lead. Last season, Bogarts winning his 2nd Silver Slugger award as the top hitting shortstop in the American League. The youngest Red Sox player 2 years ago to ever win a Silver Slugger. Runners going on a 3-2, swing and a miss. Rosario got it. But the Red Sox score 3, and it's a 7-5 Minnesota lead heading to the 5th. The Red Sox Foundation uses the power of baseball's most loyal fans to build a stronger community and improve the lives of New Englanders. On Friday, March 10th, watch the Red Sox take on the Orioles and hear some amazing stories as we showcase the incredible work of the Red Sox Foundation. For more information on how you can make a difference, visit redsox.com/game night and make a pledge today. The Red Sox Foundation Game Night on NESN is presented by Biogen Foundation, igniting a passion for science. So the Grapefruit League underway 38 games in all on this expanded spring training, and games coming up on Nesson. We'll be with you tomorrow up at Port Charlotte. Next weekend, we've got games at Bradenton against Pittsburgh, and here in Fort Myers against the Braves. Games against Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, and more as Joe Kelly enters the game as the fourth pitcher of the game for the Red Sox. Kelly now his third full season with the Red Sox, having converted himself exclusively to relief late last season, and by the end of the season had really become an important part of that bullpen.
Well, you had talked about it really a couple of seasons ago, how you always thought, man, I'd love to see Joe Kelly come out of the pen and just bring it. Now he's got that fastball that's up around 98. He's also added a devastating slider to his repertoire. It makes a big difference.
Ground ball here. Sandoval up throwing in the first out of the inning as they get Park. Joe Kelly last season appeared in each of the 3 Red Sox playoff games, retiring all 11 batters he would face. 3 2/3 innings, got them all.
I think he's finally found a home there at the back half of a bullpen. Struggled at different times as a starter. Really has still struggled himself to really establish himself in a Red Sox uniform. He spent time in AAA in each season. My only worry,
that one down in the dirt,
always with Joe Kelly, especially being a back end reliever, is how many strikes would he throw?
And there are certain athletes who have to work harder than anybody to get to where they are, and Joe Kelly certainly works hard, but there are some guys who are just true natural athletes, and Joe Kelly reminded me of that twice this week. The charity golf tournament earlier this week for the Southwest Florida Children's Hospital, he played wearing flip-flops and would take them off and swing barefoot and hit it 320 yards down the fairway repeatedly. I know, because I was 2 holes behind him, and every time we got to a tee, the people at the tee would tell us, "You won't believe what Joe Kelly did." Yeah, I know. He hit it barefoot and he hit it 350 yards. And then Thursday night, Florida Gulf Coast University down the road, Dunk City as they call them, won their conference tournament. A bunch of the Red Sox players went, and Joe Kelly threw, how long is a basketball court? A full length,
80 feet,
one hand, 80-foot basket across in front of the crowd and video cameras and everybody around him. Now, admittedly, I think it was his 3rd attempt, but as he pointed out, game's about adjustments. I made the adjustments. So Joe Kelly, whose father was an NFL player, was a good football player, signed with the San Diego Chargers as a wide receiver out of Vanderbilt University. So clearly there's some athletic genes in that Kelly family.
I don't know if they've had any races here. You got some guys that can really fly on this ball club, but when he was at St. Louis, he was the fastest player on their team.
Fastest guy on the team.
Yes. Let's see him and Mookie go at it.
I'm sure the Red Sox training staff would just assume we do not stage that race.
They probably just assumed that they didn't stage the full court shot, throwing it like a baseball.
With his velocity, he probably took something off that to get it across.
I'm sure.
The length of the court.
Just cut it a little bit.
2 up, 2 down, an 0-2 pitch to Haig. Down to the dirt, tried to get him to chase. Chris Hale also dunking when they were hanging around on the court before. Not sure. I saw the video, and I'm assuming, well, how tall is he? 6'6"?
6'6".
So a 10-foot rim is no big deal.
Well, he's 6'6", and he's got a pretty decent arm span, too. A little extra reach.
There's the 1-2 pitch from Kelly. Misses high. Karen?
TC, Steve, it was pretty funny. The next morning they asked John Farrell just what he thought about the shot, and he said it was not part of his throwing program, but it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, Red Sox very proud of their shoulder program here. I'm not sure throwing basketballs 100 feet is part of it.
They didn't draw that up.
So Haig working his way back from an 0-2 count. It's now full.
It's part of what John Farrell does very, very well as a manager, the way he handles situations. I'm sure that was the public comments. I bet he had some stronger words for Joe Kelly in private, saying, hey, come on now. I'm not sure that's what we really want you doing. But as far as being a manager who protects his players, not too many better.
Kelly strikes out Haig. So 1-2-3, fifth inning for Joe Kelly. Red Sox trailing by 2, coming up in the bottom half of the fifth. This Red Sox spring training game on NESN is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Ace Ticket is Boston's trusted source for Red Sox, Bruins, and Celtics tickets. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS to treat someone special to a game now. I got a new pitcher for the Minnesota Twins, and lots of changes behind them as well. In center field, we now have J.B. Shuck out in center field, and in right field. Actually, let's go over to first base. 38 is at first base, who didn't make their travel roster, but we'll get a name on that as soon as we can. That is Chris Jimenez. Other changes as well. Field, Escobar, and Haig staying the same. Grossman still in left. Murphy behind the plate, and then there's Adalberto Mejia. Adalberto Mejia, the 23-year-old who was traded from San Francisco for Eduardo Nunez late last season, enters the year as the team's 6th best prospect. So a good young pitcher, the lefty, on the mound now for Minnesota. And the Red Sox, with Mookie Betts leading off, after putting up 3 in the 4th inning, trying to rally back from what was a 7-2 deficit. It is now a 7-5 game. Fouled off into the crowd.
I don't know if I believe the numbers on Mejia here. It says he's 6'3", 210. He looks like he's about 6'5", 250 out there, doesn't he?
He's still young. Could have had a growth spurt.
I weigh 10 pounds more than that kid.
Here's Betts with a drive to left field. That'll go all the way to the wall. And Betts wheeling around, stands, or actually slides into second with his 2nd hit of the game.
Well, we all know it. Throw inside at your own peril here if you're going to try to get in on Mookie with the quick hands that he has. Just hammers balls down in that left field corner. It's an easy double for him. Going to see him do that another 40 times this year in a Red Sox uniform.
So now with the runner at second, Hanley Ramirez. An RBI double back in the first inning. Facing the big lefty Mejia. We told you Mejia, one of the top prospects in the Twins organization. 2014 was the 4th top prospect in the San Francisco organization, but in the end of the season, he was suspended 50 games for a banned substance, returned midway through 2015, and then traded to Minnesota last year. Made his major league debut and gave up 2 runs in 2 1/3 relief innings. And here drops in a strike on Hanley Ramirez.
Nice little breaking ball right there from Mejia to go along with the power fastball.
Hanley, meantime, last year's Comeback Player of the Year award from the Boston chapter of the Baseball Writers of America Association. Career high 111 RBI and his second 30 home run season. Here, ground ball to short. Field is up with it. So the ground out will advance the runner. Now, that's 90 feet away with 1 out. And Moreland stepping up to the plate. You and I both agree that Mitch Moreland could be a very important part of this team over the course of 2017. Not just the Gold Glove caliber defense, obviously, but he's a guy who can go to the opposite field, and as we all know, that green monster can help a left-handed hitter who's willing to go opposite field more than it helps a lot of right-handed hitters.
And I think he understands that coming to this ball club, he doesn't have to come in and be a stud. He just has to be the next guy in the lineup. And that was kind of one of the themes that this Red Sox team took to heart early in the season last year. Just keep the train moving. No one's going to make up for the production loss of Big Papi. But you don't really have to if everybody just does their job.
Takes an inside pitch there, and these opportunities against left-handed pitching and over the course of spring training could be very important to Moreland as he tries to make his case to be an everyday player, not just a guy who will face righties.
Yeah, he's talking about the fact that he doesn't mind facing lefties. He's not afraid of it. He had good numbers last year.
One pitch from the lefty Mejia. Drops in for a strike. Moreland has hit 20 or more home runs in 3 of the last 4 seasons. 22 last year, which was one of his career high from the year before, and is a .304 career hitter in 33 playoff games.
Good take right there. Nasty pitch down and away.
Yeah, you talked about his numbers against lefties last year. Hit .277 on the season against lefties. Had a .320 on base percentage. Actually hit better against lefties than he did against righties last year. Much smaller sample. As you said, it was his best year against lefties. But you've got Chris Young, who's one of the best against lefties. You got Hanley Ramirez in that DH spot. So Hanley moves to first. Young moves into the DH spot against lefties quite often. Unless they need Young in the outfield in those games, that's when Moreland could have an opportunity to get in there at first base against the lefty.
And this at-bat right here against Mejia is an important one as far as the way it's worked out so far. I mean, he spit on a pitch 2 pitches ago that was the out pitch for Mejia. That was the pitch that he wanted to bury him on, and Moreland didn't offer at it. Now he's stretched out the at-bat and has a chance to make this productive.
Now 3-2. The pitch high, chopper just foul. So good at bat against the lefty here for Mitch Moreland. (7-5) Minnesota leading. Here in the bottom of the fifth, a 5-run third inning for Minnesota, the story. Tyler Thornburg struggling in his first Grapefruit League appearance for the Red Sox. Swing and a miss, Mejia got him. 7-pitch at bat. The strikeout there for the second out of the inning, and Chris Young will step up with 2 down and a runner on third.
Hey, Mejia, credit there, just going climbing the ladder. He threw his entire arsenal at him. Pretty good battle. Mejia ends up winning it.
Chris Young and an RBI double, scored a run as well back in the 4th inning. He'll face the lefty Mejia. With 2 down here in the 5th. Takes ball 1.
It's the specialty for Chris Young, hitting against left-handed pitching. Boy, he had some important at-bats against righties all last season as well, didn't he?
Ball 2 outside. He's the elder statesman of that outfield group, and the one who kind of began the whole dance movement that swept the nation by wildfire. And John Farrell, at the beginning of camp, is very quick to point out that Chris Young is one of the leaders who steps in the wake of David Ortiz with Dustin Pedroia, Hanley Ramirez. But Young obviously is 7 major league seasons, is a respected leader on this team, and a veteran who's well respected throughout the game.
He's not a boisterous guy. He's just one of those guys that when he says something, it's pointed. You understand where he's coming from, and he makes sure that his points are well taken.
Yeah, 10 major league seasons in all for the 33-year-old Chris Young. 2-1 pitch from Mejia, out ahead of it, and he fouls it. The count will go to 2-2. His first 7 major league seasons, he played only center field. Now he'll play left field for the Red Sox, and John Farrell making it clear that if he is in a game because they don't like the lefty-on-lefty matchup somewhere else, it'll probably be Bradley coming out of center, Benintendi moving over to center with Young in left. Here's Andrew Benintendi. Pitch down to the dirt. Good job there by Murphy to block it. Betts will get back to third.
Well, Andrew's a natural center fielder, and he's the one playing out of position, learning how to play left field. Even by his own admission right now, isn't a great defensive left fielder. He said, that's why I'm working on it. So you got to like the attitude there.
Cue up the tape from Tropicana Field last year when he made that catch up and over the wall.
That was a great catch. No question about it.
Full count here is Chris Young. Looking for a little 2-out magic against Mejia. Takes ball 4. So Young works a 2-out walk, and we'll have bases or men on the corners for Pablo Sandoval, who will once again resume switch hitting this season. Spent time in the offseason with Miguel Cabrera. Not a bad guy to work on your swing with. Says he essentially retooled his right-handed swing completely. He's put in a lot of time over the last 2 weeks here, spring training, working on that right-handed swing. Remember, he had given it up 2 years ago, sticking to the left-handed swing.
I'm not sure if he gave it up or his right-handed swing gave up on him. It was pretty dismal there for a while, but you know, when you're a switch hitter, that's not something you just want to put in the closet.
First pitch swinging, the foul pop back into the seats.
A baseball player's career is littered with bad seasons. There's the difference in the swing that you were talking about before that he's worked on. Just because you have a really bad one season as a right-handed hitter doesn't mean you just throw it away.
made a hell of a noise.
Played just 3 games last year and ultimately undergoing surgery to repair a torn labrum.
And that's one of the things that I think people are forgetting about, too. I mean, we talk a lot about his weight, that he needed to lose weight and get in a little bit better shape and come back as a better ball player. But you can't forget about the fact that he had the surgery on the shoulder and that is still healing. Watch him take a lot of ground balls and make some throws over to first base where he is kind of taking it easy right now, just getting it over there, not putting too much zip on it.
Oh-2 pitch from Mejia. Drives this one towards the gap, but it'll fall in. A diving effort from Grossman and an RBI single for the right-handed hitting Pablo Sandoval. And it's a 1-run game.
Well, Pablo will take it. That's probably a ball that should have been caught. You go into the dive there and then unable to come up with it. Good read by Young. He ends up on third base.
That'll bring up Steve Selski, who's 2 for 2 on the afternoon. Scored a run as well. And the Red Sox down 7-2 at one point have battled back within a run. Tying run now 90 feet away. Selski will take ball 1. Selski's father, Steve, played in the minor leagues for the Dodgers and White Sox organizations. His mother is an Olympic volleyball player. Talk about athletic genes.
That should help a little.
Can't hurt. That's why I've told my kids to focus on academics, not athletics.
How's that going?
It's going well. She's going very well of late. Ground ball to the right side. Getting over there is Field. Throw pulls Jimenez, but he holds on for the final out. So the Red Sox get a run on 2 hits and a walk, and it's a 7-6 game after 5.
Sir, there's been
has you covered for all the top stories and highlights on the Red Sox Grapefruit League games as they prepare for the regular season. Red Sox spring training coverage presented by Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Robbie Ross in to pitch the 6th inning for the Red Sox. The lefty making his first appearance of the spring. After his team has battled back to make it a one-run game. Got some changes out of the field as well, Steve.
Ooh, lots of them.
See what we can tell you as we go along here. We've got, let's see, I know we got Alan Craig out in left field. It's a good place to start. Take a look at Alan Craig. Rusney Castillo in center now. And over in right field, I'll tell you in a moment here, as that's ball one to Escobar. Junior Lake in right field. Also got Matt Dominguez over at third base. That'll be a ground ball, and no sooner do I tell you about Dominguez than he gets up and throws it across the infield.
Well, you know the rule is if you're a defensive replacement, the first ball has to get hit to you.
It will find you, won't it?
Even though there was like 6 of them in this inning.
Not sure anybody who played a ball there would have continued that. It's Sam Travis over at first base who took the catch there. We had a change at second base as well, didn't we? He's over at second base. You got that? Marrero moves over to short. Marrero moves over to short. And Mike Miller is your new second baseman. Number 88 on your roster. All right, you got all that?
I hope so.
There's a diving effort for Castillo, and he makes the catch.
Sweet
So
looking red
Rusney
glove.
Castillo out there.
Yeah, a little backhand sliding catch. Nicely done right there, Al. Just kind of went down to one knee, flashing the red leather.
So two quick outs for Robbie Ross. And a 2-0 count. It's Dan Butler behind the plate. The last change we missed for you. Dan Butler last year with the Kentucky Red Sox hit .308. His major league debut a few years back, and
couldn't have been happier about it.
The entire organization couldn't be happier about it, because this is a guy who has battled for everything he's ever gotten in baseball, has made the most of his opportunities. Meantime, Robbie Ross
came up that year with a big beard.
Absolutely.
Looked like Yukon Cornelius.
Swing and a miss there. So a 1-2-3 inning quick work for Robbie Ross Jr. And the Red Sox come back to bat at the bottom of the 6th, down by 1.
Nothing is more important
Get to Catch Dining Playbook with Billy and Jenny. Found out the best places to eat and drink before, during, and after the game throughout New England. Tune in for an encore presentation tomorrow night at 6. Dining Playbook on NESN, driven by your New England Chevy dealers. 7-6, Minnesota leading the Red Sox here in the bottom of the 6th inning, and a new pitcher, Ryan Pressly. If you've paid attention over the years, you know he spent 4 years in the Red Sox organization after being drafted in the 11th round by the Red Sox in 2007, but was plucked off the Red Sox roster in the Rule 5 draft back in 2012. And has settled in nicely with the Minnesota Twins since 2015. 99 appearances, the most of any Twins reliever, now 28 years old. You know the Rule 5 draft, you get picked, you got to stay on the Major League roster the entire season.
Or
and
they send you back.
Or they send you back, and the Red Sox would have gladly taken him. Last season, 72 appearances to lead the Twins. 6 wins in relief and a 3.70 ERA. That 2013 season, after being taken off the Rule 5 draft, had never pitched above AA for the Portland Sea Dogs with Boston. Stayed up with a big club in Minnesota the whole year because they didn't want to risk losing him, and he wound up pitching 76 and 2/3 innings, the most of any rookie reliever in baseball.
That's some homework right there.
Done my work.
You know, that's a tenuous situation for any organization on a Rule 5 draft, because you're generally putting a guy at least a class above anywhere he's ever played before, and you have to keep him there. You put him in the big leagues. This guy hasn't pitched above AA. Sometimes they baby that guy a little bit, but they certainly did with Pressly. They ran him out there.
In fact, in 2012, he probably threw to this man, Dan Butler, who he hits.
He didn't like Danny,
no doubt. Maybe they had some bad blood. I don't know. I don't think so, though. I think that was inadvertent. We got some changes for you. You ready? Those of you scoring at home, Reginado, now your left fielder for the Minnesota Twins. Shuck stays in center. Granite is your right fielder. There he is, number 66 on your roster. We'll get you more changes in a moment as Marrero steps up to the plate. Devin Marrero, his second at bat, drew a walk back in the 4th.
What'd you get, Father? I got
Goodrum is your third baseman for the Twins.
real dirt.
I believe the rest of the infield stayed the same. No? Rodriguez is a new second baseman, is that right? Gordon at short. It's D. Gordon's brother, right?
It is indeed.
Gonzalez is your second baseman? No, I believe that's Rodriguez, your second baseman, right? Benji Gonzalez. I beg your pardon, Gonzalez.
Yes.
That's what happened. I followed your notes.
Yeah.
I should have listened.
I switched them.
Yeah, you messed it
Gonzalez
up.
the other way around.
Gonzalez is the second baseman, and Rodriguez is your new shortstop.
And also, Eddie Rodriguez behind the plate as a catcher as well.
Yes. We're all over it, I think. Marrero fouls this one out. On a play to the right side. Miller on deck. Lake batting behind him.
Nick Gordon at shortstop might be one of those kids to watch. D. Gordon's brother. It was a first-round pick of the Twins a couple seasons ago. Getting his first taste of big league action in spring training.
The 1-2 pitch to Marrero. That's down in the dirt. It gets away from the catcher Rodriguez, and Dan Butler will advance to second base. It's a tying run in scoring position with nobody out here in the 6th.
Remember, we just said if the Red Sox could chip away, they could put some damage into that 5-run 5th or 5-run 3rd inning. Beg your pardon.
Pitch from Presley, swing and a miss. He got him. First strikeout for Presley, the first out of the inning. The Red Sox here in the 6th. So 1 out here. That'll bring up Miller for the first time today. Miller now the second baseman. Fouls that one off. Oh, they've changed it. Travis, beg your pardon. That's Sam Travis.
Yep.
I was going by the scoreboard. They had posted the new lineup. So Travis batting second.
Travis had that 3-run home run in the first game of the season, as you mentioned. Wouldn't count as against Northeastern. Big towering drive to left field with a couple guys on base. As he rounded the bases, it looked like his knee was fine. He says he doesn't really bother wearing a knee brace unless he's doing agility drills.
Well, this is a guy who was creating a lot of excitement last season before the injury, and he sends a towering fly ball to left field.
Oh.
And all kinds of trouble with it there for Reginado. Coming around is Dan Butler and the Red Sox, who tied this game up at 7 apiece. An RBI double for Sam Travis with 1 out here in the 6th.
Well, his 3-run home run didn't count against Northeastern, but he'll take the gift double here, bring out the dancing Bears, and nobody knew what was going on out there in left field. That ball drops. We've seen that happen a lot when you're looking at a Fenway Park left field wall out there. The Green Monster gives a lot of people trouble. Danny Butler did a good job of getting halfway and then getting the rest of the way home when that ball dropped.
So that'll bring up Alan Craig for his first at-bat here in the 6th inning. Craig coming in as a defensive, and he will get hit. So the second hit batter for Ryan Presley here in the 6th inning. And Rodriguez will go out to have a word with his pitcher. And now others will join. 2 on, 1 out, tie game here in the 6th.
Now Neil Allen, the pitching coach, out there to have a little bit of a conversation. Neil was a former roommate of mine when we played in the Chicago White Sox organization. And off he goes. Dropped some words of wisdom. He said, "Stop hitting, guys."
You think that's what he said?
That's exactly what he said. Stop
Don't hit
it.
the batter.
Stop it.
Don't hit a batter. That's what I want you to focus on this next at-bat.
Home plate. It's that white thing shaped like a house.
Brian Bogusevic, new DH, stepping in for Hanley Ramirez. He drove in all the offense yesterday for the Red Sox. The 2-run homer and a 3-2 loss.
One swing of the bat.
He takes ball 1 here.
And none of the guys we talked about before, we were talking about outfielders trying to make this ball club. Just make an impression somewhere. Make an impression on the organization here and see if they may like you in the future, but you're also trying to make an impression on all the other ball clubs that are out there. Bogusevic's been around for a while now. People know who he is.
33 years old.
Yeah.
Spent last year in Japan. It didn't go real well in Japan for him, so back stateside now. Prior to that, he played for the Philadelphia Phillies. Before that, Chicago Cubs, Houston Astros. So he's been around Major League Baseball. Left-handed hitter. High fly ball to center field. Shuck is under it to make the catch. Travis advances on the fly ball. So now the go-ahead run at third base after the fly ball from Bogusevic.
Travis did a good job right there, tagging up, just knowing that your center fielder's going away from the play, being left-handed. It's a much tougher throw for him to have to turn back and throw. he may have advanced to third, even if it was a right-hander out there. But those are some of the things that you think about when you're on the base pass. Who's in the outfield? How deep are they playing? What arm do they throw with? What side are they having to throw from?
That'll bring up Mike Miller getting his first at-bat of the game. Nope, beg your pardon. Is that Dominguez? Dominguez, the third baseman? It is. It's Dominguez, the third baseman. I was right about his first at-bat of the game, though.
Yes.
I'll stick with that. Dominguez last season got 11 at-bats with the Toronto Blue Jays, hit .269 with their AAA affiliate in Buffalo. Showed some power at AAA with 18 homers, 67 RBI. The pitch from Presley misses. So 2-1 the count to Dominguez. Seven game here in the 6th inning. The Red Sox battling back from a 7-2 deficit. Ground ball to third base, played there in time for the force out at second base to end the inning. But the Red Sox get a run on the RBI double from Sam Travis, and we're tied up at 7, heading to the 7th.
Sox. Sundays, Ness and
we are all tied up at 7 in the 7th. It's 7th heaven with Steve Lyons here on a Saturday afternoon in Southwest Florida, and a new pitcher on the mound for the Red Sox, Heath Hembree. 38 games last season with a 2.65. This is his 4th season with the Red Sox organization, and a very interesting guy to watch this year, Steve. I believe he's out of options, and so he's a guy that will give a good long look to see if he could fit into this bullpen.
They've never really questioned his stuff. It's just the ability to be able to control and command that stuff. Hard thrower again. Another in the long line of hard throwers coming out of that pen.
Acquired in the deal for Jake Peavy. Sent Peavy to San Francisco. Got Hembree along with Edwin Escobar. Last season, retired 33 of the 38 first batters he faced, and that was the best percentage on the Red Sox. Best percentage of first batter efficiency which is always good for a reliever. You got to come in and get that first out. And the second and third for that matter, but can't do that without getting the first out. 1-1 the count here to Shuck, who leads off the 7th inning. Fouled off by Shuck. Hembree, the 2.87 career Major League ERA. So like you said, there's never been any doubt. Spent time as a closer for the Paw Sox. And last year, you talk about the adjustments pitcher has to make. At the beginning of the year, lefties were hitting him at 475 with a big club, but he made some tweaks, and they were just 161 with him, against him rather, from June on, and he gets the strikeout there to start the 7th.
Nasty right there, a little sinker or a little slider down and into a lefty. It's always a tough pitch to hit, tough pitch to lay off too.
So 1 down here in the 7th inning as Granite will step up to the plate. Zach Granite, the right fielder. Our first broadcast for you here on NESN. They began their Grapefruit League play yesterday afternoon against the Mets. We'll be with you again tomorrow up at Port Charlotte, taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. 1 o'clock start here on NESN. Opening day, a little over a month away at Fenway Park this year as they open up at home. So if we get some of those 70-degree days that they're getting up there right now.
That would be nice.
What are the odds?
None.
The eternal optimist, Steve Lyons.
Looking forward to wearing my long johns underneath my suit again for a month and a half.
Looking forward to my little electric heated pad that I have out on Yawkey Way.
You're going to have to find a way to get another one of those.
You can find a way. Go buy one. That's what I did.
Figure out exactly what it was.
Bet your move only took me, what, 12 years of hosting shows on Yawkey Way to figure out I should get a heating pad. Ground ball to second base. Miller up and makes the throw in time for the second out of the inning. On the Knicks, Charlie Moore outdoors. Charlie is joined by Red Sox legend Rico Petrocelli. Charlie and Rico relive Red Sox moments from 1967 and 75 and catch some beautiful smallmouth bass. All that and more on the next Charlie Moore Outdoors tomorrow at noon on NESN. 50th anniversary of the Impossible Dream season of 1967.
Doesn't seem possible.
It's impossible.
50 years.
Red Sox will be celebrating that anniversary all year long. One of the truly improbable runs for any team we've seen in New England. 8 straight losing seasons heading into 1967, and people thought it would be a major milestone just to have a winning record in 67, let alone win the American League pennant and go to the World Series. Carl Yastrzemski hitting for the Triple Crown that year. No one would do it for 45 years after that.
Was his average 303, wasn't it?
I believe that's right. It was a very young team as well. Tony Canigliaro, of course. Mike Andrews in his early 20s. I think Rico Petrocelli was maybe 24, 25 at the time. And that was the year that changed everything and created Red Sox Nation. Opening day of 1967. There were fewer than 9,000 fans at Fenway Park for opening day.
Wow.
They had averaged 10,000 fans a game the previous year. I think that was the first year they ever topped 1 million, and now we talk about 3 million fans a year at Fenway Park as a regular occurrence.
Tough to get a ticket.
Unless you know Steve Lyons.
Even then.
Is that a message you're telling everybody?
Don't ask.
That's a good point. Our producer, Brian Zaccello, just pointing out this 9,000 seats at JetBlue Park now, which is sold out just about every Grapefruit League game.
Another brilliant day down here in Fort Myers. Great crowd on the weekend. Red Sox fans in force.
Seen a good one as the Red Sox battle back from a 5-run deficit. Tied up at 7 now. 2 outs in the 7th. Hembree just misses upstairs.
You don't see many happier fans than Red Sox fans coming down out of the Northeast in the cold weather, except for today. It's upper 60s. To come down here and enjoy some baseball and the great weather and not have to go to work.
There is that. Reginaldo, fly ball to left field. And that'll be up and off the wall. So a wall scraper, a 2-out double here for Reginaldo in the 7th inning. So JetBlue Park opened up in 2012. This is the 6th spring training here at Fenway South, which is the entire complex. It'll hold as many as 11,900 fixed seats. That's considered a sellout. The dimensions, as we told you, exactly the same as Fenway Park, except the Green Monster's a little taller here. 6 other practice fields with facilities and rehabilitation facilities, and a neat little berm out there in right field, right center field. Fans can put out a blanket and sit on the lawn. Kids can move around a little so they don't get fidgety in their seats.
Yeah, they can be fidgety all they want out there.
Unlike you here in our booth, there's no place for you to run around.
I'm a little fidgety.
The leg hasn't stopped moving, I've noticed. That's your natural energy.
Exactly. You know, and I think this is an amazing idea. It's just the smartest thing to build a replica of your own home ballpark, so everyone that plays in your organization can get used to what it will be like to play at Fenway.
And we key on the Green Monster in left, but the triangle in center field, that weird corner in right field. If you're new to this organization, if you're a young player coming up, those are all nuances you have to learn, and a lot better to make your mistakes here in spring training than having it rattle around on an August night at Fenway with first place on the line.
Yeah, it just makes so much sense. You wonder why other organizations haven't done it. And people are truly impressed to come down from New England and see Fenway South and say, oh my gosh, it is. It's exactly the same.
The manual scoreboard out there in left field, just like the one back home.
Local advertising.
Of course, the difference, as we said, fans both above and in the Green Monster here in Fort Myers. Strike 2, the call there. Hembree looking to get out of it. The 2-2 count here to Jimenez, the first baseman. Chris Jimenez, a catcher as well as a first baseman for Minnesota, gets out of the way of that one. And it's a full count.
Minnesota has sort of overloaded themselves with catchers and first basemen. As you talked about, it's going to be a wild ride trying to figure out who makes this club and who comes to the head of the class as far as who they're going to keep. They've invited a lot of people in. Some decisions for Paul Molitor.
Ground ball through the left side. Up throwing is Craig, and the play at the plate in time for the out. So Alan Craig up throwing ends the inning by nailing Reginaldo at home plate and keeping this game tied at 7 with the Sox. Heading to bat in the bottom half after this.
Nice bedroom, Bob.
Experience the best seats, price, and benefits Fenway Park has to offer. For information on becoming a season ticket holder, please visit redsox.com/season tickets or call 877-RED-SOX-9 today. 7-7 here in the bottom of the 7th, and a new pitcher on the mound for the Minnesota Twins. Ryan O'Rourke, the lefty out of Worcester, Mass., St. John's High School in Shrewsbury, and Merrimack College in North Andover.
I know you had a nice conversation with him earlier before this game started. Did he remember who you were?
He did. His father's a police officer in Worcester and goes to, as I said, St. John's High in Shrewsbury, where my sons have gone and go, and played hockey and football for the Pioneers at St. John's as well. So wanted to say hello to a lot of people back in Central Mass.
Gosh, if he ever makes a club and plays against the Red Sox regularly, we'll have to hear about his father, just like we hear about Flaherty's father all
Ryan
the time.
Flaherty's father, Ed, is the head coach at the University of Southern Maine, in case you haven't watched over the years. Here's Junior Lake leading off. The unfortunate part for Ryan O'Rourke is an article that appeared in the St. Paul Pioneer Press last week, talking about his pregame ritual, which apparently involves losing his lunch, as it were.
Puking.
Yeah. And that kind of has gone viral with Barstool Sports, ESPN's Buster Olney picking up on it. He says, I really don't want to be known as that guy, but other athletes have done that over the years. Bill Russell for the Celtics, most legendary.
Sure. A lot of basketball players I knew used to barf before their games. It's all, you know, a little bit of nerves. It's, hey, it lets you know that he's ready to go, that he's thinking about it, that he's into it. I hope he's able to find a bathroom or somewhere out of the public eye to get that business done.
And we'll move on to other topics now as we talk about his attempt to get Junior Lake here. The interesting thing for Ryan O'Rourke, who was designated for assignment last year, Minnesota Twins actually letting him go. Anybody could have grabbed him. Nobody did, so he went to Rochester, their AAA team, pitched fairly well there, and then when he came back, lefties hit him .077 the rest of the season. So this guy could be very good lefty on lefty specialist as he gets Junior Lake to begin the inning here. And there is always a room for a guy like that. If you're a lefty who can consistently retire left-handed hitters, every team's looking for that kind of guy.
I think that's what you were talking about with him, is that's kind of the role he's hoping to hold down on this club. Be that guy that comes in and gets a tough lefty and sits down, says thank you very much.
By the way, I want to give a shout out to Nesson managing editor Mike Berry, who of course is also a pride of Merrimack College. Wanted to make sure we gave a lot of love to Merrimack in the Warriors program. Mike was a pitcher at Merrimack, and his work on the mound for the Merrimack Warriors made him the great television executive he is today.
Yeah.
Because he knew he didn't have a major league career pitching. But Ryan O'Rourke, 28 years old, has been up and down the last couple of seasons, got a couple of chances with the Minnesota Twins. His parents aren't here, taking advantage. And again, Minnesota, as we said, their ballpark right across town. So there's folks down here visiting, getting to come over and watch him pitch against the Red Sox. What a dream for anybody in Worcester or New England to see their son pitch against the Red Sox. Castillo fouls one off there.
It'd be a nicer dream to have your son pitch for the Red Sox.
Sure, that's all right.
But if you have a son and he's a pitcher, him pitching with a major league uniform on his back is kind of a dream no matter where it is.
It's his third spring training with the team. Last year appeared in 26 games for Minnesota. Had an ERA under 2 in 33 appearances, AAA Rochester. 2-2 the count here to Castillo. Rusney Castillo made a nice catch earlier in center field, his first at bat of the game. Battling here as he fouls that off. Look back at that catch. Terrific sliding catch for Castillo.
Yeah. Flashing that sweet red glove that he's wearing out there. Castillo has some style. We know that. Kind of still looking for the substance.
Ground ball to the left side. Hot shot gets by the dive of Goodrum. hustling to second base. Thinking about maybe more. Now retreating as the ball comes in. A one-out double for Rusney Castillo here in the 7th inning.
All up to you, bud.
Castillo, a .309 career batting average against lefties at the major league level. Has always had success against left-handed pitching. And with the hit off the lefty here with one out, that'll bring up Mike Miller. With one on and one out in a tied 7th inning.
Well, that might help get Castillo out of the doghouse a little bit. I know that we remember in previous seasons that Castillo had trouble remembering how many outs there were at times, throw the ball the wrong bases at times. Just kind of the fundamentals of the game were eluding him. First game against Northeastern, he hit into a double play ball and didn't run it out, thinking that there were 2 outs. So not only did he not know how many outs there were, but also didn't run hard. That's not going to sit well with manager John Farrell, and he said something about it.
And now off the 40-man roster, and seemingly, if everybody's healthy, not much room for him on the major league roster. Still a guy, though, you think Castillo would be able to prove his worth and maybe be somebody another team might be interested, or should there be injuries, a guy that the Red Sox might look at once again. All you can do is keep playing.
Yep. And and that's kind of the situation he's in. When you look at a guy like Alan Craig in the same situation, and Rusney Castillo, guys that were on the roster now off the roster, but still getting paid to play baseball here. You have to do everything right. You can't make a whole lot of mistakes. You can't make mental mistakes. You can't, be a guy who's the perception is that you're not hustling.
Castillo going as Miller swings and misses. A strike 3 there on the strikeout from O'Rourke. Advancing to third base is Castillo. So Butler now with 2 down. And the go-ahead run 90 feet away.
That's
Good
an
jump
excellent
there.
jump there.
Yeah.
Nobody really paying attention, and he just took off.
Second at bat of the game for Dan Butler. It was hit by a pitch in the 6th inning. Eventually scored the tying run. And here he takes ball 1 from O'Rourke. Two and 0 the count. 30-year-old catcher Dan Butler in his 9th professional season, 8th with the Red Sox. He left for a year, remember 2015, after making his major league debut. The ground ball to short. Gordon up with it for the 3rd out of the inning. So we head to the 8th inning tied. A scoreless inning for Ryan O'Rourke, making Worcester proud, keeping this game all tied up. brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. It's more than a ticket. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. By Old Dominion Freight Line, helping the world keep its promises. And by Bob's Discount Furniture. Back here for the top of the 8th in the shadows of the big number 8. 7-7 is our score. As we have another new pitcher, Edgar Olmos, coming in here for the 8th inning. He is the 7th pitcher of the game for the Red Sox. The 26-year-old signed as a minor league free agent this past November. He's pitched in 11 major league games with the Marlins and the Mariners. Spent all of last season in AAA Norfolk with the Orioles organization. Had a 2.88 ERA last season in AAA. Left-handed pitcher. And you'll always run into guys like this over the course of covering baseball. But this is a guy who has been claimed off waivers multiple times. Signed originally as a third-round pick of the Marlins in 2008. Claimed off waivers by the Mariners in 2014. Claimed off waivers by the Cubs in 2015. Later claimed by the Orioles off waivers. Later claimed again by the Cubs off waivers as they took him back. Acquired by the Orioles for a player to be named later, and then signed by the Red Sox as a free agent.
Do you want me to give you the quick answer as to why?
Yeah, why?
Big, tall, and left-handed.
And again, last season, we told you, good numbers in AAA Norfolk, and still just 26 years old. So he drops that breaking ball in.
Nice little yacker right there.
Made his major league debut in 2013, making 5 appearances with the Marlins. A 7-7 game here in the 8th inning. One's fouled off, back up here.
It's funny the reactions that you see in the crowd when a foul ball comes up here. The one I noticed here. All the guys trying to look up, see if they could catch it. All the moms protecting the kids.
This is Dan Pelka, pinch hitting, and he takes ball 4 outside. So Pelka walk. The Twins get the leadoff man on, and Nick Gordon will step up to the plate. No outs. Facing Olmos here in the 8th inning. Sox trailed 7-2. They've scored 5 unanswered runs. 3-run 4th inning and a single run each in the 5th and 6th.
They've done a good job of getting back into this ball game, as you said. They threw up multiple runs.
That'll bring up Nick Gordon. We told you, 1st round pick, 5th overall in 2014. Brother of D. Gordon.
Son of Flash Gordon.
Son of Tom Flash Gordon. 3-time All-Star himself. 1-time Red Sox pitcher. Spent all of last year in Single-A Fort Myers. Hit .291 in 116 games. But he's behind 0-2 here, and he fouls that off.
He's much bigger than D. Gordon is.
Hit .315 against right-handed pitching. 220 against left-handed pitching, so that is an area he will have to work on. Facing the lefty here. Almost throws back over to first to check on the runner Polka. Polka doing the polka. Back over to first.
Polka dots. He should be wearing those shoes that we saw Santana in earlier today.
Yeah, looked like he had dropped his autograph marker multiple times on the white shoes. Swing and a miss, strike three, so almost gets Gordon for the first out of the inning.
Good sharp breaking ball right there too, and as we talked about before, big tall lefty like that can drop a breaking ball on you. That'll get you some looks.
This is Gordon. Or is this Goodrum? Did I have Goodrum on in the last place here? No, yeah, this is Gordon here. I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Again, following the, as somebody pointed out on Twitter, it is some dude time.
Yeah.
Some dude grounding out to some dude.
What's his name?
Yeah, Johnny Allstaff.
And from our vantage point, Goodrum
and Gordon,
yeah. Look awful.
No, that's on me though. No. I appreciate you trying to cover for me, but it's spring training for the broadcasters too, as we say, and that was my bad. Goodrum striking out.
No wonder he looks so much bigger than D. Gordon.
This one looks much more like his brother D.
Now Nick is bigger than D as well,
yeah.
but
6 foot 175.
Not Goodrum's size.
And Nick Gordon did struggle against lefties last season. That is something he will have to improve on. But it makes more sense because he's the left-handed hitting Nick Gordon as opposed to the right-handed hitting Goodrum.
Some dude.
So Goodrum striking out. 1 out. Polka is at first base and Nick Gordon is at the plate. Rodriguez on deck. That'd be a good idea for me. Look at who's on deck before saying who's stepping into the box. Ball 2 from Almost. Approaching the 3-hour mark on this one, and that, of course, is a hot topic in Major League Baseball, the length of game and the pace of play. Looks like they will be going forward with the intentional walk change. You won't have to actually throw as Gordon swings and misses at that.
I don't have much of a problem with that, do you?
No, I like it. What do you lose there? Is there any excitement?
Well, there's no excitement.
1 out of a million.
Occasionally they'll throw one over someone's head.
There you go. And even in this age of pitch counts, you count those 4 pitches on a guy's pitch count, right?
Now they won't have to.
That's right. Gordon, it's a flare to center field. Castillo diving in, but he can't get there in time. That'll drop in for a base hit. So Nick Gordon, angry that we said he struck out earlier, drops in a base hit. There's 2 on and 1 out.
Looked like a pretty good jump by Castillo, just wasn't able to come up with it. Kind of alligator armed it a little bit at the end, maybe. Yeah, some of the things that they're talking about making changes. Now you don't have to throw the 4 pitches, but, you know, they're still bantering about the whole minor or the whole extra inning game, putting a guy out there at second base. Come on.
What about a pitch clock?
I don't mind that. Get guys moving.
You're a little more open to change than I expected.
Well, here's the problem. Like I said, you know, some of the changes they make sense and some just don't.
How about limiting pitchers' mound visits?
I like that too.
How about limiting the number of relievers in an inning?
I don't like that. If you want to bring in a reliever in, you bring a reliever in. It's like eliminating the shift.
It's a fly ball to left field. Craig under it for the 2nd out of the inning. But if you just tuned in to NESN looking for Virginia Tech at Boston College, that game now on NESN Plus being shown in its entirety. We'll follow our game with a special episode of NESN Next Producer, then join the college basketball game in progress on NESN.
The problem I have with changes in the game of baseball is that they never stop. Just like the thing with replay, and you know I'm not a fan of replay, but they said, oh, we're going to use replay only for foul and fair home run balls. Well, guess where we are now with replay? They're replaying everything.
But isn't change somewhat inevitable? Other sports do change. Ground ball to second base.
Tough play.
Tough play, and well done by Miller for the final out of the inning. We'll continue that conversation as the Red Sox come up to bat at the bottom of the 8th after this.
Big bat.
Brought to you by Old Dominion. Mookie Betts with a couple of hits.
Yes, he did have a nice day, lashing a ball into left field and then a double down the line, doing what he does best. You know, starting his season off just right where he left off last season, just crushing the ball.
2 runs scored from Mookie Betts. Old Dominion helping the world keep its promises. 2 important runs as we are all tied up at 7-7 here in the bottom of the 8th. And another pitcher on as we will now see JT Chagua. Get the French names okay.
There you go.
Chagua.
But the crowd down here today, they didn't want to stop singing Sweet Caroline. So after they stopped the music, the crowd just kept going right into the inning.
Chagua was a second-round pick in 2012 out of high school in Louisiana, where he graduated summa cum laude. So an intelligent man. No, that's Latin. Good effort, though. Marrero fouls this off, struck out back in the 6th inning, walked in his first at-bat in the 4th. Minnesota 7 runs, 10 hits, 1 error. The Red Sox 7 runs, 11 hits, 1 error. Last year, Chagua moved his way up from AA through AAA and then made his major league debut against the Red Sox on June 1st. Gave up 5 runs in 2/3 of an inning.
Yes.
Far cry from the 1.54 AA ERA and the 0.73 AAA ERA.
I recognize the name and the bad outing from those games against the Minnesota Twins. Give me the spelling on Chagua.
C-H-A-R-G-O-I-S. Chagua.
Let's call him Shaggy.
Sure. If it wasn't for you meddling kids, we'd have gotten away with it. Scooby-Doo reference? Does nothing for you?
Shaggy. Right. I'm on it with you.
So to finish that conversation about the pace of play, and I will say this, and I've said it many times. People talk about the length of a game. that the average game gets longer every year. To me, it is less about the length of a game, because you can have a 3.5-hour game that is dynamite. As Marrero drives this one to the gap in right center field. Heading for second base, and a leadoff double here in the 8th inning for Devin Marrero. But I think it's about the, as they say, pace of play. What's happening in those 3 hours, or 2.5 hours, or 3.5 hours, or 4 hours? You know, the intentional walk. I know people are saying, what, you're shaving 50 seconds off a game. But it's not about making the game 50 seconds shorter. It's about 50 seconds of nothing really happening in a game. Those are the mound visits. It might not make a game shorter, but those 45 seconds of nothing happening in a game is when people change it to another channel, is when people go down the wormhole of social media, is when people stop paying attention to the game. Keep the game moving as best you can. Yeah, and chopper, number back, and the runner goes to third as Travis moves him along.
Good as a sacrifice bunt. You know, and it does shave a little bit of time off, so you are saving and making the game more exciting for the players. Plus, a lot of the people that I hear complaining about length of games aren't really that great of baseball fans. It's like, you can get up and leave in the 8th inning if you're not having fun anymore. There's nothing keeping you there. If you want to leave, you want to leave. The people that really enjoy the game of baseball and don't care how long it takes will stay and watch the game. Tweaks here and there are a good thing. It makes it smarter, brings the game into our current century. But you know, Tony Clark, head of the Players Union, and wants to be very careful on this. As he said, there's chess and there's checkers. This is chess. There is such a thing as speed chess, but sometimes you have to appreciate chess. Oh.
Game it is. Alan Craig hit by the pitch.
Didn't it?
He's up quickly. A scary moment there as Alan Craig will get looked at here as he heads to first base. Now he stops.
Hopefully that was just a glancing blow. It looked like Craig was spinning away from the pitch.
Hit for the second time today. 2 at-bats. He's been hit twice.
See him pulling away up around the shoulder and ear flap. I got a little more of him than I thought.
Stays in the game as he heads to first base, so that's good news. And that'll bring up yesterday's offensive hero, Brian Bogusevic.
There you go, with a chance again late in the game.
The 2-run homer yesterday.
Good lesson right there to be learned from the kids that are watching right there. Turn away from the pitch. Don't back away to your left. Turn if you're a right-handed hitter, like Craig was in that at-bat. Turn back towards the catcher to turn away from the pitch.
If he turns back away to the left, that one's coming to his face.
Yeah, and you're just not getting out of the way quick enough doing it that way. And if the ball continues to sail on you, it'll get you.
Swing and a miss there for Bogusevic. His second at bat of the game, flied out to center field. Back in the 6th, long fly ball. Be enough to give the Red Sox the go-ahead run here. Marrero at third base, Craig at first. 7-7 our score here in the 8th. Craig going on the pitch, little slapper through the hole to left field, and the Red Sox take the lead. RBI single for Bogusevic, his 3rd RBI in 2 games.
Just a little hit and run again right there. We're seeing John Farrell put that play on a couple times today. You create a big hole on the left side. It's not really designed to get your guy from first to third, just get guys in motion, see what can happen. You drop a little ground ball, a little weakly hit ground ball, but there's nobody there to catch it. Shortstop's covering the bag on the attempted steal. Look at that. It's a thing of beauty. Nobody in the way of catching that ball.
The Sox battle back from down 7-2 to take an 8-7 lead here in the 8th. And Dominguez hoping to add to that. Matt Dominguez grounded into a fielder's choice to end the 6th inning. One and one the count to Dominguez here with 1 out, 2 on in the 8th inning and a 1-run lead. Last 4 Red Sox pitchers, Kelly, Ross, Hembree, and Olmos, pitching scoreless innings. So Red Sox bats got hot. Ground ball, third base. The second and the first in time for the double play to end the inning. But the Red Sox get a run, and we head to the ninth with the Red Sox leading 8-7.
Sir.
Red Sox giveaways return to Fenway Park in 2017, including Rick Porcello and Mookie Betts bobblehead nights on April 5th and 14th. For tickets and more information on the entire 2017 giveaway lineup, visit redsox.com/promos. Ninth inning here at JetBlue Park in Fort Myers. And Austin Maddox in to try to close it out, a non-roster invitee to camp in his third, is that right? Third season with the Red Sox organization? 12, 13, 14, no, fifth season with the Red Sox now. Third round pick of the 2012 draft for the Red Sox. Got up to AAA for the first time last season, and 3 appearances with the Paw Sox, 1.93 earned run average.
Had a busy year last year, playing for 3 different classes during the season.
Shuck, first pitch swinging, grounder to first. Nice play there by Travis. And he'll run at the first himself. 1 pitch, 1 down here in the ninth.
I don't think people understand how difficult that is to be a guy who's playing well enough to get moved up. As you watch the replay of that play there by Travis, excellent. But then you have to move. You know, you're playing in Salem, and then you get sent to AA, and then you do well there, and you get sent to AAA, and you have to move again. And goodness.
2 years ago with High A, Salem had 10 saves, which was the most of any minor league pitcher in the organization. Saves are usually kind of doled around in the minors. You don't necessarily have one closer, and if you do, that guy usually gets called up for another role with the big club. Austin Maddox, the 25-year-old, 6'3", 251 pounds, big righty. Jacksonville, Florida.
You know, if you take a real close look at him with the little beard he's got going there, it reminds you a little bit of a right-handed John Lester.
Like that. A little flare to left field and a base hit for Granite, who will pull up at first base. So 1 out, 1 on. The ninth inning for the Twins. They're not going down without a fight.
No,
Steve.
They want to make their comeback now.
That'll bring up Reginato with a man on and a man out. Reginato had a big double in the 7th inning and tried to come home on the Jimenez single. Alan Craig threw him out at the plate to end that inning and keep this one going.
He also had trouble out there in left field with the Sam Travis drive to the wall that dropped in for a double that helped the Red Sox get some more runs.
Runner going here as Reginato fouls that one off. Maddox was a third-team All-American 2 different times at the University of Florida. Was the SEC Freshman of the Year.
How many All-American teams do they have?
Apparently 3. I would not have known that. The over-under would have been 2 in my book.
I've never heard of a third-team All-American.
The Eagles View Academy in Florida was the Florida Times Union first-team All-Star in high school. Oh, 1 pitch. Fouled off, so Maddox ahead, 0-2. After the season, he pitched the Venezuelan Winter League, 11 appearances for Zulia.
Down in Venezuela.
As many of the Venezuelan Winter League teams are.
Yes. I played against Zulia.
Ninth inning here at JetBlue Park. Red Sox holding on to a run lead. Easy for me to say. Maddox will miss upstairs. 1-2 the count.
Well, you try to figure out what kind of slider he has right here. Throw that down and away. Get him to roll over. Bounce into the double play. And time's up.
Everybody goes home happy. Except for the Twins fans who have made the trek across Daniels from their ballpark.
Have you noticed a lot of Twins fans today?
No.
Because I haven't. I know it's packed with Red Sox fans.
Yesterday there was a fair number of Mets fans here in the ballpark.
Yeah, but they don't know what they're
West
doing.
Coast fans of the, New Yorkers out here on the west side of Florida who don't go over to the East Coast to see the Mets.
Ooh.
That one taken high for ball 2.
The old adage in baseball, up and in, what comes after that? Down and away.
There you go. Backed him off the plate. See what he does here.
The reason why that works and has worked for so many years in the game of baseball is as a hitter, you're afraid that the pitcher might double up and come back up in there again. You can't go leaning out over the plate looking for a slider down and away.
Ground ball to short. Flipped over. No, taken by himself. In time for the double play. As Marrero gets it to Travis for the game-ending 6-3 double play. So the Red Sox rally to win this one. Down 7-2 at one point. Battle back to win it 8-7. And their first Grapefruit League of the year.
Nice little play right there by Marrero, too. It took a funny hop on him, kind of climbed up the ladder on him, so he decided to take himself and get the double play to end this game. And a great comeback by the Red Sox after that 5-run third that could have killed them.
So they are even up on the Grapefruit League with a win and a loss. They head to Port Charlotte tomorrow to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. We will be with you. Full coverage beginning at 1 o'clock right here on NESN. For Steve Lyons, Garen Austin, and our entire hardworking NESN crew, I'm Tom Karen. Thanks for watching. Final score for the final time. Red Sox 8, Twins 7. We'll see you again tomorrow.